everybody. Welcome back to Passions Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the soap opera Passions. That's right. You've been looking for a soap opera. No, you've been looking for a podcast about a 20-year-old soap opera, and you found it. So, I'm your regular host, LeTara, back again with one of my favorite guest hosts, Eric.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a blast.
Always. I'm so glad to have you back. Everybody's going to be thrilled to see you again.
Well, and this week is so exciting. And to quote the great Chad Harris and a nominee I would like to suggest for the title episode, I'm sure you have one already, but this was mine, was this week, there are some bizarre things going down, yo.
There's some bizarre things going down, yo.
Emphasis on the yo.
Yeah, I love that actually. So I didn't get a bunch of titles this week. I had a ton last week.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
There was so many quotable moments last week, but there weren't as many this week.
Mhm.
But that can definitely be I could have been a contender. So let's get into it. This week we watched 496 through 500.
500, y'all. We made it to 500.
We made it to 500. Can you even believe?
From where you started with everything, with Laura, with you guys as an epic duo, and now where you are now. I mean, and what the show has done, like how many days have passed? About a week in Passions time?
Yeah. No, honestly, it's been like a year, and I've been doing this for like 3 years. No,
Yeah.
I can't believe it. No, it's been great. It's been fun. So we're into episode 500.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Episode
Thank
500.
you.
And this week did not miss. This week was like fantastic. I loved the pacing. Like it wasn't, and we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, like it wasn't Hell House and Fire and Brimstone and all of the magic, a lot of magic stuff, but it was so good. The pacing was so fantastic. They're really pushing the story forward. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was almost like watching a regular TV show.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, they really started moving things forward, and I loved it. We got a little bit of resolution of some stuff. So before we get started, I want to go ahead and say a thank you to our patrons over on Patreon. Thank you to Munashe, Marcus, Erica, Brelyn, Lisa, Sid, Randall, Ashley, Hannah, Camelia, Samantha, Jeanette, Eric, Jamie, Fantasia, Sean, S., Larissa, Maria, George Lopez Fitzgerald, Lisa, and Jessica Jean. Thank you all so much for being patrons. And remember, if you would like to become a patron, you can also go over to patreon.com/passionspodcast and choose whatever tier you like. Looks good to you. So thank you, patrons. You really are my passion for life. The reason, honestly, I keep saying it. The patrons are the reason I'm doing this. I have wanted to quit so many times. No, I have. I've been like, I should just turn everything off. I've wanted to quit 2 or 3 times, and I enjoy doing the show. I really enjoy this part of it, like the talking about it, the watching, the editing, the social media,
it's a lot of work.
It's just like a lot, and especially with like a full-time job and like taking care of my niece and like family stuff. It's just a lot. And so I do it because I love it, and I know there's people out there who love it too. And I like that we have this. I do like that we have this community, and I want us to keep it up. And so, thank you all so much. And also, if you do not want to become a patron, but you want to help support the show, you can also just leave me a tip. There's a link in the description, and there's a link on all the social media pages. So please do.
Great. Yeah. And reposting those TikToks and stuff, like I'm sure that's how it found me. Somebody put that, I've talked about this before, but somebody put that Avalanche episode of basically Miguel yeeting Charity out of the blizzard, and same thing with Tabitha kind of getting yeeted across with Timmy on some snow. And I was like, a friend said it to me, and they're like, didn't you love this show? And I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, oh God, what episode was that? And then I was like, oh wait, someone's doing a podcast. So all that stuff is helpful, and you're just reaching out to people that we would have geeked out with in the late 90s, early 2000s, and now we found each other many years later.
Yeah, we found each other as adults. And
Yeah.
we're better than we were as kids.
Yeah.
So like I was not the most likable person as a child. So no, that's not true. I was very likable.
There you
Shut up,
go.
Tara. Stop being mean to yourself. You were great. I was great. So anyway, all right, we're gonna move on. Let's get into it. We're gonna start with the troubled marriages because there's nothing to talk about here. I mean, there is something to talk about here, which is crazy because I barely have any notes and we barely spent any time on the troubled marriages in the week.
Yeah.
But like I said, they paced it so well that we actually got some action for real, some action.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Eve and TC, who have gone home without their children from this
Yes.
party. Gone home without their children for this. They went to the party with their kids, left without them. Okay. So they basically just kind of recap the night very nonchalantly. TC talks about how he almost murdered Julian, and he should be thanking his lucky fucking stars he's not under a prison somewhere.
Yeah.
Cause
It's like you said last week. It's about what you said last week. Resonated with me. Is Julian's like, why am I going to put Eve through more stuff? Right. I think what you said is absolutely true. Because
that's got to be what it is. I mean, that coupled with the fact that Alistair doesn't like publicity, and that it will make Julian look weak in Alistair's eyes.
Yeah, that's true too.
I think all of those things together makes him say absolutely not. Calling the police or pressing charges is a non-starter for him. But yeah, TC almost killed Julian. He is recapping that very nonchalantly. He needs therapy desperately, but he won't get it anyway.
And are we led to believe that they just got back, or they are going to bang, right? Even TC, they
at the beginning of the episodes they've just gotten back and they're still in their like party clothes and then yeah, they go upstairs to bang and don't think about their kids at all. But
nothing gets you more in the mood than a party at the Crane Mansion.
Eve keeps saying, oh, we all had some strange experiences with the fog. The fog showed me something about my past too. Girl, why would you say that? Why would you say that? Just keep it to yourself. You don't want to share it with him.
If I knew that the fog made me think of stuff, I'd be fishing and asking people, hey, did any of the fog show you anything?
Well, she doesn't want TC to ever know about her secret.
Yes.
The fog showed her an experience from her past that she doesn't want TC to know about. Why even bring it up?
Exactly.
It's just say, nah, nothing happened to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I didn't see anything.
Y'all hallucinating. Are you on drugs? Because nothing happened to me. No, deny. You don't want it to ever come out. So why would you even bring it up? But anyway, they're kind of recapping what happened to them in the fog. TC talks about his experience.
Yes.
He tries to get Eve to explain what happened to her, and she's just like, no, it was just something from my past. Okay. So he then starts to try to figure out what his father meant by saying that Julian did something else to his family in the past to hurt his family, and
not just the accident.
Yeah, and TC vows to figure out what it is. And
by the way, great job to casting, because that man sounded and looked like he could be a young version of a man that would end up being TC's father. I was like, that guy did good.
Yeah,
and he had the same kind of connection or kind of performance that TC gives when he's having his own calm monologue, conversational skills. I thought it was impressive.
Yeah, it was good casting. So TC vows to find out what else Julian did to his family, and if he hurt somebody in my family, then I'm gonna kill him. This man will not stop. He has so much murder in his heart. He will not stop saying he's gonna kill Julian. Stop it. And so at this point they've gone to bed and they're talking, having pillow talk. With this is the worst fucking pillow talk in the world. I definitely would not be getting me in the mood. But he says to her, if I find out that he hurt somebody in my family, I'm gonna kill him. And she says, TC, promise me you won't kill Julian, which I think
you to swear. Yeah.
Which I think is a reasonable request.
Yes.
And he's
then she even says, if it's not going to be for me, then at least for your daughters, because if something happens to you, you're screwing over your kiddos. And like that was like a great, this conversation had been had a long time ago. But this, and I'm pretty sure has mentioned things like this in the past, but finally for her to just be like, you need to stop. Like, this is too much.
Well, he tells her, I can't make you I refuse to make a promise I can't keep.
Yeah.
That's what he says. I refuse to make a promise to you that I cannot keep. Because he said, if I find out, I'm gonna kill him. It is what it is. And she, like you said, she appeals to him multiple times. Like, think about your family. Like, if, like you said, if not for me, what about your children?
Yeah.
He said, I think he says like, let's agree to disagree, basically.
Yeah. He does not promise it. He's just like, yeah, I'll think about them as I.
TC, everybody in this show is just so unhinged.
Yeah.
So they never really come to any resolution. Then they start to kind of fall asleep, and Eve starts having dreams about the baby that she lost and the visions and the fog vision that she had. And she's in bed and she's going, my baby died, or my baby's dead, or something like that.
She's holding the baby. It's my baby's gone. My baby's dead. No, I think my baby.
Yeah, she kept saying, I think she was definitely saying my baby died.
Yes.
Or,
and usually, if what I remember correctly is somebody took my baby. Like that was always the like this thing that or eventually it's gonna get there.
Yeah, I feel like he eventually gets there, because up until now she's been very adamant and very firm that her baby died.
I feel like we're on the little slow path to a new theory. Yeah.
And in the fog showed her something different. The fog showed her that somebody took her baby.
Yes, there it is.
And then now in her dream, the person who took the baby, the shadowy figure, hands it back to her, and she grabs it and realizes that the baby is dead. And that's why she's saying out loud in real life, my baby is dead. So TC wakes up and is like, oh my God, what is going on? And so we're going to leave that there with them for right now, and we'll come back to even TC momentarily. Let's really quickly talk about Ivy and Sam and Grace.
Which again, I'm happy that I'm happy I got one episode with Ivy, and it was the 500th episode that Ivy finally showed up, because I was like, where is she? But yes, we got some Ivy, Sam, and Grace stuff.
And she didn't get much time, but the time she had really packed a punch. And I'm going to be real straight up with you, Eric. I fast forwarded through Grace and Jessica's conversation.
Oh, hey. I saw, I'm going to tell you what I did highlight, and I did highlight something, but I do not blame you for passing. You knew what the conversation was going to be.
I was so bored.
Yeah, you knew what it was going to be.
I was so bored. So you're going to have to recap that part, because I was like, I refuse. I'm not doing this again.
Yeah, on that particular episode, we start off with Ivy. Well, first of all, I was confused because they cut up, like the episode before that ended with Miguel and Charity or something. So I thought it was either Miguel or Charity or Sheridan and Luis in bed. I couldn't figure out who was in bed with each other. And there are a lot of blonde and dark-haired couples here. Yeah. I was really confused. It was Ivy and Sam making love to each other. And I was like, whoa, it was a jarring jump to get from episode 499 to 500. And it ends up being, it's a dream sequence. Ivy is fantasizing about Sam.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was especially jarring, I think, because we hadn't seen them at all.
Yeah.
And so I too was like, who is this? Who is this?
Because again, Sheridan and Luis are having their own issues. So even when I was like, whoa, wait, I thought I skipped an episode. So
yeah, I was like, nobody's in a place to be doing this. What are we doing? But yeah, it was Ivy having a dream about fucking Sam, and good for her.
Yeah.
She wakes up and decides, you know what? It doesn't have to be a dream. It's going to be reality. It's going to be my reality. And she makes her way over to the police station. Meanwhile, Sam is at the police station having his own little dream, which I assumed it was a dream sequence because it came right after Ivy's dream sequence.
And because I hadn't seen Grace in a while, I was like, wait. And I knew that that's what the whole point is, but I'm sure if I saw them consecutively, I would have figured it out. But I was like, I don't believe anybody's making love until I see that the little glamour shot filter on the side is gone.
The music and the bloom,
Oh
bloom, like
yeah.
yeah, like the music has to change a little bit. But the 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 way I watch Passions too, I think because I watch it so much and so often, I'm hip to most of the tricks. It's very rare that they
Yeah.
really trick me anymore. I usually can
Yeah.
see that okay, this
Yeah.
can't possibly be happening because
Yeah.
I know it takes Passions 150 fucking episodes to
Yeah.
get through 2 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's no way. But anyway, we cut through his dream sequence, and this dream is Grace coming to the
Yes. To the
police
police station.
station, coming in, telling him that she made a mistake. She loves him. She wants to be with him, and begging him to make love to her all night. And it was at that point that I was like, oh yeah, this is
Yeah.
definitely a dream. Where
When has Grace ever begged to make love all night long?
yeah, make love to me all night long.
Yeah.
And then as Sam's like making love to her, she turns into Ivy.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's not Grace, Sam. It's me, Ivy, the woman you really love. Ooh.
And I'm
And
sorry,
then,
that's subconscious.
uh
That's
huh,
subconscious
that came
all
from
day.
his brain.
Yeah.
That came from his brain. And so
Yeah.
he wakes up and is longing for Grace. Longing for
Yes.
question mark,
Looks
longing
at
for
I think
Grace? Question
looks at a
mark.
photo. Now I gotta tell you, they play some great music to the montages, and I asked Shazam. I was like, Shazam, look this up for me. You know how Shazam's like trying, investigating,
Ha.
look through FBI files, doing archaeological digs. It tried so hard, and
It couldn't
Shazam's
do
like,
it.
I do not know what it is, but it's obnoxious.
Yeah, send it to
Bottom
me.
line, the music is like, it sounds like it's trying to go hard, and I'm like, who
I
picked this song?
It did not fit at all. I was like,
No,
what is the message they're trying to convey here?
yeah,
I was very confused. Also, I was watching it at like 1.75 speed, so it sounded absolutely insane. It
I wish
sounded
I could just
insane.
send a YouTube clip or something. But anyway, I don't. Shazam's like cannot compute. This song does not exist.
Yeah,
Whoever made it buried it a
it
long time ago.
the music on this show is so interesting. I think somebody told me a while back that because I didn't remember the music being so bad on Passions. I remembered actually having like some popular music, you know?
And maybe they went back in there and fixed it. But I've been seeing a lot of like For You on my TikToks, and they're showing side by side Lizzie McGuire episodes and what they originally used versus what's streaming on
On
Disney
Disney
Plus.
Plus. Mine
Yeah,
is like that too. Me and you, our FYP, we got the same shit on our
yeah.
algorithm. But
So
no,
maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
well, a viewer or a listener told me a while back that when the episodes went to Super Channel in
Uh-huh.
Canada, the Canadians changed the music.
Oh,
So
maybe they did.
on NBC in America, it aired with like the regular music, but then on Super Channel in Canada, it's the music's different. And a lot of
Huh.
my episodes are from recorded from some very
Yeah,
God bless you Canadian, some Canadian who is sainted. But yeah, it came from Super Channel.
got it.
But yeah, I don't know where they got this music
Yeah.
from.
Anyway, sorry for the tangent, but that music is just that. Uh, it's pretty odd choices.
If you can send it to me, send it to me, and I'll see
Yeah,
if I can play it. But okay,
yeah.
so
So he's montaging.
yes, and it was an odd montage, honestly. Like it wasn't. I was like, are these supposed to be love moments? Because there was moments of like love, but then there was a bunch of moments of fighting. I was like,
Yeah,
what is it? Are we supposed to glean turmoil from this? That he's not sure about Grace? Is that
yeah,
what we're supposed to be gleaning from this? I was
yeah.
unclear because normally a montage is like very straightforward.
Only
This one
two
was not.
only two couples can pull off the montage, and it's Shuiz and it's Tabitha and Timmy.
Yeah.
Maybe even Ethan and Teresa get an
Oh my
honorable.
God.
Yeah,
Ethan and Teresa have so many moments that could work that work
Yeah.
in a montage.
Yeah.
But anyway, and we will be seeing one of those
Yeah.
probably soon,
Yeah.
honestly. It's been a while. But yes, he is thinking about Grace. He goes back to bed. Meanwhile, Grace is having a conversation with Jessica at
And all
Tabitha's
it
house.
is, and we'll just get all of this is, Mom, I know while you're awake, you miss Dad. Yeah, I do kind of miss your dad. That's pretty much it. But she doesn't do anything about it. She just thinks that her place should be at Tabitha's house, like every wife and mother.
Well, at the end of that conversation, because I did stop short at the end, because usually they say a lot of shit that's
And then
unnecessary, and then they tell me what I need to know right at the end of the conversation.
yeah.
So I stopped fast forwarding, and Grace says she's gonna go see Sam. She needs she says to Jessica, "You're right. You're so wise beyond your years. And you're right. I should go see my husband. So I'm going to go see Sam." And Jessica's overjoyed, and Grace goes and gets dressed. Meanwhile, Ivy goes to the police station and goes to the back room and gets naked, because that girl, nobody can say she doesn't have gumption. The girl's got guts.
Yeah. I mean, she's heard it from Eve to stop. She's heard it from Mother Lonigan to stop. And she's like, no. Some of the greatest shoulders ever on daytime television. I'll put her up next because we only get shoulder shot, but we know full well she's naked now.
We also see her feet and her ankles, which are gorgeous.
Yeah.
She's a stunning woman from head to toe.
I wasn't a fan of the hair. I like a long-haired Ivy, but it kind of looked not like a bob. It's longer than that, but it just kind of, I don't know what that hairstyle is.
Yeah,
but
we're moving into the. Can I speak to the manager, please, Ivy?
Yes. Oh my God, that's a perfect description of that wig.
Yeah, we're moving into that area with Ivy right now. Yeah. I don't love it, but she's gorgeous and can pull anything off.
Oh yeah, no, like I said, the shoulder. I mean, she's flawless, and look, she was only in one episode, but she was like, to me, made a huge impression, because she's like, I'm just like Kay. She's gonna make some stuff happen, and
Kay's making moves, y'all. Yeah, Kay is making moves. So,
and that's pretty much where Troubled Marriages ends.
That is where it ends. Let's very quickly talk about these fated couples, Ethan and Teresa, Chad and Whitney. There is no Ethan and Teresa stuff this week, none.
Yeah, pretty much. They're just kind of walking around in the fog, trying to.
Yeah.
They wrapped up the last stuff that you did last time about the reporter and stuff, and nothing comes of it. There's no real conversation besides them just Whitney's being caught up by Teresa, and same with Chad and Ethan. The bros are having their conversation. The girls are having their conversation.
You summed it up exactly. I think that's almost exactly what I wrote. So moving right along. Chad meets back up with Whitney. Ethan and Teresa go on about their business. Chad and Whitney are at odds at this point, because remember, Whitney, saw Chad kissing Simone, and even though he says he thought it was Whitney because of the fog, which is true.
Yeah.
And she has been creeped out by the fog experience that she had, wherein she went into his room, like his room appeared in the maze. She went in, he told her they can't be together, gave her a piece of paper. She doesn't remember what was on the piece of paper. She just knows that it was extremely awful. And it was like, it made her very uncomfortable. And
earth-shattering.
Yeah. So they do a ton of back and forth. I'm not going to do all of it. We'll do a little of it. But they do a lot of the same old, only to get back to a place where they're together. So it really was kind of pointless, in my opinion.
He says something like, she's like, what if, you never really loved me? And, he talks, she kind of does the same thing. Like, you've been with a lot of girls. She's like, yes. And you know what? I like that he was like, I know I have, like, and I told you that I have, but I've never loved them like I loved you. Which I was like,
this was confusing to me. I was like, all of a sudden we're finding out that Chad, because Chad like admits and like says it without any prompting, actually, that he's like played with other girls before. Why
Yeah.
would you say that to her?
Yeah.
Why would you admit to that? I don't know. It just wouldn't. It wouldn't do it for me. But I'm
Well,
also not a teenager.
and he's, I mean, I'm just trying to like remember some of the arguments because he's like, she goes, well, you don't love me like what like you say you do. And she's like, I've saved your life twice. Like, I don't go running around saving everybody's life. And I thought that was pretty,
It was
I mean,
funny.
not that the life, the person whose life you saved owes you anything, but I mean, two times, I think you maybe take him to dinner. I don't know.
Listen, he says, I saved your life. I'm not Superman. I don't just go around saving everybody's life.
There it was. That's the great. It made me laugh. I was like,
It made me chuckle too, because I was like, yeah, I mean, he's got a
and he's
fucking
also
point.
saved her mom's life too.
He
Like,
took
yeah,
a bullet. He
yes,
took multiple bullets for Eve Russell. Multiple bullets for Eve Russell. Like drowned, got stabbed.
yeah,
He has been through it. Bless
yeah.
his little heart. I keep forgetting it. Chad is really. Mm.
He
So
just needs to give Whitney a bottle of tennis balls and now he'll have TC on his side too. I don't know why he hasn't figured it out yet. Get her a new racket.
TC should already be on his side for taking a bullet for that man's wife,
Yeah,
and for saving his daughter's life so many times. TC, you know what? I don't want TC on my side. If I'm Chad, actually, this man's a murderer. No, thank you. You
murder
can't even
shit.
promise. You can't even promise your wife you won't murder a man.
Yeah,
Nah, I'm good. I don't want you on my side.
still got murder shed somewhere out there.
Yeah, he's still got his murder shed. He's talking about murder all the time. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
no, he's not on the up and up.
yeah,
Okay, so Whitney says after they go back and forth, Whitney basically says, "I need some time alone." She says that our relationship is a mistake. We have no future. She says.
yeah.
He continues, "You mean everything to me. Have I ever done anything to make you not trust me?" She says, "No, but," and then that's when he says, "I've saved your life," and which I multiple times. He
Yeah.
saved your life multiple times. And then they go into the book cafe
Yeah.
where Simone immediately like rushes over, gives him
My
a big kiss.
boyfriend.
Oh, bless this girl's heart. Oh,
I know.
gives him a big kiss, calls him her boyfriend, and yeah, she then is just like, she says to Whitney, "Thank you for keeping my boyfriend company. Why weren't you keeping your boyfriend company? Like, why'd you leave the party without him?" This was weird to me. And I think I touched on this some last week, but if you are newly in a relationship with somebody you have had a crush on for like a year,
Yeah.
y'all went to an event together, you wouldn't leave their side. Why would
No,
you
like
leave
you
their
end the
side?
night together. Yeah, like you make him take you home. Like anyway, all of this to say, and we're gonna get into some K juice in just a little bit, but K is ultimate passions K, like 1,000% K. And before they had gotten there, Simone was talking about how much her boyfriend loves her, and Kay's just like, "You all are not together." Like she's with Whitney right now. So I didn't know if you wanted to like talk
No,
about that at some point, but
yeah, you're
that's what's
absolutely
going on right
right.
before Simone's like, but because her motivation is, I'm going to prove to you that Chad and I kiss and he's my boyfriend. And that's what makes her jump on top of Chad at the book cafe.
Come on, theater professor. Yes, that's her motivation. Yes, she had some motivation for this scene, and you have described it perfectly. Yes,
Yeah.
that's
That's what
exactly
made
what
him go.
happened.
I mean, she probably would have done it anyway, but it was fueled by Kay saying, "You're an idiot."
She,
Like I at least know my place with Miguel. I know Miguel wants me, and she is correct about that. I believe full-heartedly that Miguel wants Kay. So I believe her. She's gotten enough hints in the green lights to know that that's true. But she has more tangible evidence that she's got a shot with Miguel than Simone has ever had, except for the kiss. I'll get the kisses. The kisses have happened too much, and that'll confuse anybody.
yeah, up to this point, you are right. Kay has more tangible evidence that she has a shot with Miguel than Simone has that Chad loves her.
Yes.
Excepting Chad has just let her call him her boyfriend over
Oh,
and
yes.
over and over and
Yes.
over again without
That's true.
saying nary a word, never
Yeah, that's
saying
true.
anything. So, I mean, that's a pretty big hint.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big
Well, it
like,
confused the hell out of me. I mean, I would be like, all right, I'm with somebody. They don't say no,
yeah, you're not setting me
but they
straight.
don't say yes.
I gotta try this. You know what? I gotta try this
Just
tactic.
start
I'm gonna just
calling
start calling.
somebody
I'm
your
gonna just find a
boyfriend.
man that I like and be like, "Oh my gosh, everybody, look, this is my boyfriend. See if it works. See what
Yeah.
happens."
Well, I felt that my life got significantly better when you and I started dating. Do you remember that? It was about 3 weeks ago. See, that's what you do. That's how you do it. And
Yeah.
just be like, wait, what?
Wait,
Simone
what?
them. Simone them. I'm gonna Simone
I'm
somebody.
gonna Sim-
Simone.
I'm gonna Simone the hell out of somebody. We'll see what we can do about this single life. Actually, I'm really enjoying my single life. I'm alone a lot, but I
There you
kind of
go.
like that. I kind
Good.
of like that. But
Yeah.
anyway, yes. So Simone, spurred on by Kay, overcompensating for the fact that Kay is telling her basically the truth. She
Mhm.
runs over, she kisses Chad, hangs on him. It's very embarrassing. I had such secondhand embarrassment for this girl. It's just sad.
All week. All
Yeah.
week. It's gonna
Yeah.
get worse.
Oh, it's
Yes.
so cringy. Oh, it make
Bad.
me cringe so hard. So she kisses him and says, "I'm gonna get us some coffees. You wait right here." And she goes to get order a coffee in the opposite direction than where
Yep.
the counter
Yes.
has historically been. They're
Yeah.
standing right in front of where they
Oh yeah.
generally order coffee.
Yeah.
So I don't know where she went. She went to a different coffee shop altogether.
She's like, I hate Beth and the book cafe. I'm going to Starbucks.
No, right. She's like, "I love the atmosphere here, but the coffee sucks. So I'll be down the
Yeah.
street. I'll get the coffee and bring it back." No. So she goes off.
Wait.
Whitney runs out of there. She doesn't say anything. She just leaves. She bolts out. And Chad tries to get her to stop, but she leaves. He just runs after her.
Wait. Chad goes to the counter and bangs out of frustration on the counter. Then he follows her out, and the extra of the week goes to that poor barista that he just stood there and was like, "What just happened?" And it was such a great expression. God bless. I'm always looking at background actors, and that actor, he was like, "This is my first day on the job. What the fuck just happened?"
I didn't see it, but I believe you. I
Oh
love the
yeah,
background actors. When I can catch them.
yeah. So that's what happens. He chases. They end up back at the Russell's house,
Yeah, she goes to her room at the house. He comes in through the window.
which he already has a key and is living there, isn't
That's what
he?
I'm saying. You live here. Why would you come in through the window? But whatever. He comes
Yeah.
in through the window and says as soon as Simone gets home, they need to tell her the truth. Um it's crazy because Whitney was so upset at the book cafe and before the book cafe, but once they got back to her room, it seemed like she didn't care anymore. I guess she really just needed a little bit of time alone and she calmed down, I guess.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to go.
How you justify it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
cuz
they're gonna start kissing again.
yeah, they start sharing love words again. He She talks about how she feels so bad that Simone's first love is actually in love with her, and Chad asks her who her first love is, and she's like, "You know who it is," and then they make out. And
Yeah.
Simone gets home. She's so excited. She's walking back alone. Oh my god, I don't understand why she's so excited. Think about the sequence of events here. This I
All right.
this part
Get it.
this part is where I will say, so I will go back to a little bit of Simone is delusional,
Yeah.
because the sequence of events does not make sense. One,
Yeah.
you went to a party with your boyfriend, but then you left that party without him. He left with your sister. Then
Hmm.
you saw your boyfriend at the book cafe, you give him a big kiss. He doesn't really respond very much to it, doesn't say
Yeah.
anything to
Nope.
you, and then just disappears without you. Why are you still excited to see him? I'd be pissed.
I'd be pissed off somebody left me at, and I'm assuming Harmony has walking routes and or great transportation, but it's the early 2000s. How are you getting home? You're
She's in a
walking.
prom dress. She's in a
Yeah.
fucking prom dress and heels. I like I would
In a
be,
damp foggy night. Yeah.
not only would I be pissed, but I would be disgusted. I would be embarrassed. I would be hurt. My boyfriend just left me here. What did he
As
like?
well as her sister too, if you think about it. Like, you just saw your sister and she didn't check in and say, hey, I'm heading out, I'm going back home. Like, they
Yeah,
both left.
yeah, for sure, for sure. But like, I just feel like with Chad, we're together. I thought we were together.
Yeah.
I think we're together. If
Yeah.
I think we're together, then it makes sense that Whitney would go home by herself, but you would take me
Yeah.
home. Whitney goes
Yep.
home by herself all the time. So so the fact that she's like bippity bopping down this street so happy and so excited doesn't make any sense to me. She's like, "Oh, I can't wait." She gets home, she's like, she sees Whitney's window, the light coming through her window, and she's like, "Oh, Whitney's light is on. That means she's still up. I'm so excited to tell her about me and Chad." It's like she's been with you. She's seen you with him all night.
She saw the kiss for sure.
Well, she's seen what little of him you've seen of him tonight,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
she's been with him all night.
Yeah.
He saw you with him a couple of times. So she already knows what's going on with you, number one. But why would you be so excited? It doesn't, I don't know. Can you give me motivation here?
Not here. No. The fog, maybe the magic of the fog has made her, because I'm gonna have no motivation in just a little bit. Like, she's delusional. That is what she's playing. Like, if I was the actress, I would say I have to play delusion,
Yeah.
because just a little bit, she goes full on delusional.
Y'all, okay.
So that's what is really hard for me, because I felt so bad for Simone, because and maybe again, as a directorial standpoint, somebody's like, you need to be on cloud nine right now. I need you on cloud nine right now, because then we're gonna flip it, and that's what they do.
Yep, that's exactly what they do, because she sees Whitney's window. She sees the light is on in her room. She looks up and she's like, "Chad, why is Chad in there? What is Chad doing with Whitney? Whitney, don't you kiss him. Don't you kiss him." Like, she is like so,
Verbatim is basically what you just reenacted the performance.
it was so bad. I'm sorry. I it was okay. Here's what I'm going to say. I have gone to bat for Simone a lot. I like Simone as a character. I have liked Simone historically as a character.
Yeah.
I also knew that there was a turn coming, and we are
Yeah.
at the turn. And
Yeah.
I'm so upset. I am. I'm sad. I'm sad about what we're about to do with Simone, because
Yeah.
here goes the turn. This girl is making the turn to full blown lunacy. Like,
Yeah.
bless her little heart. So she sees him in the window, and she says, "How could you, Whitney?" I mean, and she's outside yelling. I don't know how nobody heard her.
Yeah.
She's outside yelling, "How could you, Whitney? You know that I love Chad and Chad loves me." And she's like, "No, no, Chad, no, you love me, Chad." Like, she's doing that, yelling, and she's really upset. And Simone then turns away from the window and goes into like full blown denial. She's like, "No,
Yeah.
it's just a dream. I'm sure it's just a dream. The fog, it's the fog. The fog is making me see things." And then she turns back and she doesn't see them in the window anymore. She doesn't see them in the window anymore, and says, "Oh, I knew it." She gets excited. She's like, "I knew it was all in my mind, girl." Or they walked away from the window.
Yeah.
I can't with her right now. "I knew it was all in my mind." And this is where the turn comes. She's making the turn into full blown lunacy. She's losing it.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I wrote. I said, "Oh wow, I feel so bad for Simone," because I actually thought she gave a decent performance, and like, oh my god, my heart is broken, blah blah blah. So then she sees them kissing. Then I wrote, now I don't feel bad for Simone. She just convinced herself that she had a full-on hallucination or that she just made it up. And now she sees it again and does nothing about it for so long.
Well, she turns back. They're not in the window. She's excited. She's crying. She's like, I knew it wasn't real. Of course, Chad loves me. Chad loves me. Chad loves me. Oh my God, she's breaking. She's breaking in real time just before our eyes. And then Chad and Whitney are back in the window again, kissing again. Well, before they kiss, she's just yelling, screaming, don't do it, Whitney. Don't you dare kiss him. Don't you dare kiss him. Don't do it, Whitney. He's my boyfriend. And then they kiss again, and Simone realizes that it wasn't a dream. Realize it all, like, girl, that it wasn't a dream. She cries. She goes, Whitney is kissing my boyfriend. She falls to her knees. I feel so bad for her. And she says, why didn't I listen to Kay?
I was so happy that we got that line in. I was so happy because I feel like Kay, it looks like, I mean, Kay is going to Kay and she's going to do her evil things and it's all about Miguel. But she really does love Simone-ish, because I have a note about that later. But she has been telling Simone, like, maybe not in the nicest, friendliest way, but she has told her facts and Simone won't listen to them.
Yeah, she definitely has been giving her the medicine, you know what I mean? And not with a spoonful of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And
perfect.
And Simone simply will not. A spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. Medicine go down. I don't know if y'all know that one, but Mary Poppins, if you will. So, yeah, she drops her knees. I should have listened to Kay. Again, here comes the turn, because she's about to start being like Kay and doing Kay type things. But yeah, then she like kind of walks out into the street and stands in the street and is crying, and she's like in a daze. It's foggy. And then we see like these bright headlights. And I should say, while this is happening, this was all extremely dramatic, because while this was happening, Charity is also having all of these insane visions. And this is one of her visions. She is seeing Simone getting hit by a car in her dreams. And they're overlapping her vision and her like being there with Simone's like reality. And it's really interesting and cool. There's flashing lights.
Yeah, and just a dose of magic. Tabitha at some point is like taken aback and she's like, oh my God, I just got a sense that someone's gonna die. Like death is on its way. She's giving us her normal Tabitha, like something could happen, but it might not, but it could. So we get that.
It was so funny because she said it in like episode 1 or 2, like, I just got the feeling that someone's going to die tonight. And then we cut to the old lady with the Sheridan and Luis storyline, which we'll get to. But we cut to directly to that old lady, and I was like, it's her. She's gonna die. I was like, they introduced this character just to kill her off.
I kept thinking, I'm like, are we gonna kill? Because people die all the time in Passions, and then we bring them back. I mean, that's just infamous of soap operas in itself. But I was like, oh, who's Tabitha talking about? And then I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna play with this Simone idea. So yeah, Simone gets hit by a car.
It was ridiculous, to be honest. She is standing there. The street is wide open. This person had to be trying to hit her, to be honest.
Yes.
They had to be trying to hit her. One, this is a residential road. Like, there's no other cars. There's nothing. Yeah. It's right outside her house. It's empty, and it's a wide road. Two, like I said, there's nobody around. Three, they weren't going that fast. How did you manage to hit her? I know it's like foggy. She's in a yellow dress standing under a street light. Standing under a street light. They had to be trying to hit her. That's the only explanation to me. And I don't know if you know this. Do you know if we ever find out who actually hit Simone?
I don't remember. I don't remember the storyline at all, actually. I was like, oh shit, Simone got hit by a car. Like, I don't recall Simone having a significant thing like this happen to her.
Oh, I
So,
remember because the bullshit that happens after she gets hit by this car.
well,
It's-
I have a feeling I know where we're headed. But I did think about, I was like, there are only like 20 people who live in Harmony. Who is this person that just ran over Simone and didn't stop? I mean,
well,
like,
yeah, and the thing is, at the same time, Eve and TC are like
TC.
having a little conversation about Julian doing something to their family. And
Yeah.
then so a part of me wonders if it was Julian or like, well, it couldn't have been the imposters, but if it was Julian and Rebecca, because this is the same time where they're like headed over to Dee Dee's house.
Yeah.
So it like they're out and about. It could be them. Now, if it was them, and the way TC was acting when he found out about what happened to Simone, it felt like another layer. But except
Yeah.
it couldn't be Julian, because if it was Julian, TC legitimately 100% would kill him and be
Yeah.
justified, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie.
I also think it would have phased Julian and Rebecca. Like, I like, at least we would have gotten
Yeah,
something.
we would have
But
gotten something, but
maybe
somebody
it was
did.
Alistair. I mean, who doesn't care and can get away with it? Maybe Alistair's finally driving around somewhere.
Somebody did hit Simone with a car, and I want
Yeah.
to know who. And I don't know. I don't remember if we ever find out who hit her. I don't think we
I
do.
don't I don't recall this at all. And then just another thing, at some point Eve says something about like either she's talking in her sleep and or she does mention to TC something about losing a baby. And
That's what.
so
Yeah,
that happens as well. So that's going to come into play later when Eve and TC find out that Simone's been hit by a
yeah.
car.
She was dreaming and saying, "My baby died. My baby died." That's and she was
Yeah.
having that other dream, and he
And I
woke
do
up.
think TC heard it.
Yeah, he
So
woke
then
up and he was
what are
like,
you
"What's
talking
going
about?
on?" And then this whole thing
And
kind
then
of
they
happens.
hear, yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So then they get thrown off.
So Simone
So
has
yeah,
been hit by a
Simone is
car. Nobody knows that Simone has been hit by a car except for Charity, of all people. Charity has a premonition that, or is dreaming all of these crazy visions. So let's talk about it really quickly.
we go into magic
Well,
or
let's
okay.
yeah, let's go to magic. Let's go magic,
Because
and we'll come back to
Tabitha and
Simone.
Timmy are about to enter the scene. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to magic, and then we'll come back to some. This goes into Simone again, so we'll come back to
Yeah.
poor Simone. What you gonna do? Things look bad for
Things look bad
you.
for you, Simone. What you gonna do?
Oh, oh, poor Simone.
I just had
Poor
an Andrew Lloyd Webber day
Simone
in my
just got
class.
hit by a car. Bless her little heart. Not, let me think. She's not going far. Hey, just got hit by a car. Just got hit by a car. Oh, that's not funny. I'm gonna stop laughing. That's not funny. Poor Simone. Bless her little
Wait,
heart.
we didn't get to go to Go Simone.
Mm, mm, mm,
Go
mm, mm,
Simone.
mm. Go Simone. You know what they say. Listen, Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat was ahead of its time. I love that musical. I've been in it 3 different times. I
Yeah.
love that musical. It's so
Have you
good.
played the narrator? You would
Yes.
be yeah, you're an
Yeah.
amazing. You would be perfect. I know
Yes.
you sounded amazing.
It's,
I just had Andrew Lloyd Webber Day in our musical theater class, and so that was fresh on my mind. So as soon as he started singing, I was like, I forget we know our musicals.
you know what's crazy? I was literally just singing Evita before I got on with you. I was singing Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. I love Evita.
Oh, you got a beautiful voice.
Oh, thank
You leave
you.
that in the podcast because it's just as a random statement.
No, okay.
Random fact, actually.
We should. I love musicals, and oh my god, speaking of music, we're gonna take a little quick aside. Me
Okay.
and Laura went to see what might possibly be the worst show I've ever seen.
Oh, what did y'all?
Moulin Rouge. It
You
was
didn't like
terrible.
it?
It was
No.
terrible. Have you seen it?
I saw the world premiere in Boston with Aaron Tevitt and Karen Olivo, and I enjoyed it. But I like the singer-songwriter catalog thing that they did with it.
Problem. It was a problem
Yeah.
after problem after problem. And me and Laura, I shit you not. Oh my God. There was multiple
Wait, you're in New York.
times.
Did you see Aaron Tveit in it?
Yeah, I saw him.
Right.
Yeah,
Was
he's great. Luckily,
yeah.
he was there to sing it because I can't imagine having to sit through somebody singing it worse. It was one of the worst things I've ever had the misfortune of sitting through. Except, it makes a good story. So Laura and I were sitting there watching this show, and I'm telling you, there was multiple times where I was like laughing and I wasn't supposed to be, but there was one in particular moment where I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get kicked out of here. Because there's a moment where the Satine, and I want to say I've never seen Moulin Rouge the movie. I had never
Okay.
seen it, so I had nothing to compare it to either.
That might mess with my frame of
But
mind.
Laura loves, the only reason we even went was because Laura loves Moulin Rouge and
Yeah.
she loves the movie and she hated this show. We hated it. It was horrible.
Yeah.
So she there's a moment where Satine, like the light, it's black, the lights go down, she's sitting at her mirror. You think she's about to have a very poignant moment. And honestly, it was fairly early in the show, so I wasn't at a point where I was like, I hate this yet. I was still at the point where I was like, I'm giving it a chance. But this bitch sits down at her little vanity and she starts to look at herself. You think she's going to have a poignant moment. You hear the music go down. It's a cappella. There's no lights. It's dark. And then she goes, do you ever feel
I knew you were gonna.
like a plastic bag? Bitch, are you serious? Are you singing Firework right now? And they tried to make it so serious. Do I ever feel like a plastic bag? Have you ever heard those lyrics? They're terrible. First of all, and I love Firework for like what it is, but I was laughing so hard and it was silent, like it was quiet. It's a very quiet moment, and I was trying my best. I was tears streaming down my face because I was like, this can't be real.
Yeah.
There's no way I paid $160 to come hear this lady sing like a acapella Firework. There's no fucking way. And then it just got worse from there. And then it just got worse from there. I'm sorry, I'm off on a tangent.
No, and I think that's what's fun about watching shows with people. Some resonate. And I will say, I don't think it's the greatest musical ever, but I think it had a lot to do with my experience. I saw it with a friend of mine. The set is gorgeous, right? You got to give it that. It's beautiful to look at. Some of the song choices might not be everybody's favorite, but it was fun going into a show and not knowing what was going to come out. For me, and again, we were at the world premiere, and we saw Aaron Tveit, Karen Levo, and Danny Bernstein, who won the Tony as well for playing Harold Ziegler. And so I think I had a little bit more of a high watching it. But again, there were moments where I was like, this isn't a good translation of what I know the film is. So enjoyed it.
It was a beautifully produced show.
Oh, gorgeous.
The set, the costumes. There's one scene where they're in a park, and I don't know what they spent on these costumes for this 30-second scene. The costumes were stunning. I mean, and you never see them again, but they were beautiful. All of the costumes were beautiful. The acting, the singing, the actual people doing the show, great. The show itself, horrible. The book, the songs, the way they put the songs together. Why is every medley 5 songs and each song starts at the beginning in the medley? What are we doing? That's not how a mashup works. I'm sorry, I'm off on a tangent.
No, I will say that in the film version, because they are not, the songs were selected from like the a range, but it ends at like 2000 2001 because that's when the movie opened. The songs are a little bit, I enjoy the song choices more there, but for me what was the gimmick part was recognizing songs that I didn't know were going to be in it. So that was
Here's what I think happened. I think they decided we want to update this some. We're gonna make it where people who are in their 30s, the people who are our age who love the movie Moulin Rouge, what are the songs that some were very, very popular in their early 20s? And it's all of those like extremely popular songs. The one that was unforgivable, so bad that I in fact blocked it out until like 2 days later when I was like, oh my God, I forgot that was in there. Was like, she says and held him back. She says,
Oh yeah.
shut up and dance with me. I was like, I cannot. I refuse. I
I do.
refuse.
I could see. I could see us sitting in the theater and you giving me the look like, we can leave now if you want to. Like, I'll
No,
go.
I'm staying to the end. I want to see with bad shows when things are really bad, especially if I pay for it.
Yeah.
I am going to stick it all the way out because I want to be able to say, yes, I saw the whole thing and I still feel the way I feel. No, because people will try to play you and be like, well, you didn't stay for the whole thing, so you don't
Well,
know.
I tried to get my friend to see Holla If You Hear Me, the Tupac Shakur musical that was on Broadway, and
Uh-huh.
he refused. And I said, "Come on, let's go." And he was like, "No." And I said, "I want to see a Broadway flop. I'll be able to say I saw it." And it flopped. It was a bad, but I mean, like, how fun is it to say I saw the Holla If You Hear Me? The
That
Tupac.
is fun. That's the thing. I was telling Laura's like, I know we had like we don't like the show, but it makes such a good story and it's such good fodder for conversation. We went to a bar and bitched about it for like 4 hours. And it was
I
great. We
wish
had
I
so
was
much
there.
fun,
I wish I was there.
but I'm sorry. We're gonna get back to Passions. I'm gonna cut some of this out. I like my tangent,
Hey, we
but
can tangent all you want to. I will tell you one last story
yeah,
about Broadway fails. One of the tickets I got as part of a package was to see Rocky the musical. I had no interest to see it. It was part of a package.
yeah. Hmm.
But I sat next to this older lady, and the first act goes on. First of all, the guy who played the lead, Andy Carl, he's a Tony nominee. He's very good. He's going to win a Tony someday. He was fantastic in the musical. The show itself was awful. It was really hard to sit through. And so the first act goes through and the curtain drops and I look over at this lady and she's just staring straight at the curtain and she's not looking at me. I'm just kind of getting my stuff over together and she goes, you know, and this is going to be in my dissertation, you know, the first show I ever saw here in the Winter Garden was West Side Story, Cheetah Rivera, original cast, and now I'm watching this.
Hello, that's a flex. Like I know that was a read and a flex at the same time. Yes, girl, I'm with
And
you.
I was like, I love you. And so because I realized our tickets were all together, I got to see all these shows with this lady and I
Oh,
watched like hear her opinions on everything. And so we went to see Bullets Over Broadway. Again, probably not one of the greatest shows ever, but my friend comes up to me and she's like, "Oh my God, there's better seats that opened up way down in front. Come sit down with me." And I was like, "No, I'm good." She's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, no, I'm okay." She goes, "You fell in love with the old lady, didn't you?"
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
need to hear her review. I don't care about anything else.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
Now, the
I
second act of Rocky way better because the wrestling arena would go out into the audience and turn around 360, and it won best set design for a musical. Yes, it was entertaining, but not the greatest show. But yeah, anyway,
that's
it's fun to talk theater every once in a while.
listen, I love it. I also me and Laura also went and saw Beetlejuice, which was also terrible, but
See, I wouldn't mind seeing it because I've seen that guy before. I saw him in School of Rock, and he was very and
he
he's a great
carries the show. Alex Brightman, he carries
yeah.
the show. We saw it a couple of years ago now, but
Yeah. Also, I had a huge crush on Winona Ryder when I was a little kid.
I could see
I
that. I
still
mean,
do,
like
actually.
who did? That's what I was about to say.
Yeah,
Winona Ryder was and is hot,
yeah, yeah.
but in
But
like a
especially gothic,
yeah, in a
depressed.
very funky way. I love it.
Yeah.
But the set, that show, Beetlejuice is bad in a way that kind of like a
Like you're going
theme
to
park.
see a
It's like a
Disney
theme park.
production.
Exactly. It's like a theme park. You're going to enjoy yourself, but you're not going to get a lot out of it.
Yeah, got it,
Right? Like it's not going to feed you in any way.
got it.
And I don't mind those kinds of shows.
Yeah.
But I didn't even enjoy myself in Moulin Rouge. But anyway, magic, 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 magic.
We're
Okay.
going from Broadway magic to Passions magic.
Passions magic. Okay. So, let's start with where Timmy falls on Julian's head. Timmy falls from the sky onto Julian, and you may or may not remember from last week that Timmy made Martinis. This was so stupid. This was funny. I was sitting on the couch watching this episode, and my niece was sitting out there with me, eating, and she was watching along, and she was like, "Hey, how did they get out of Hecuba's lair?" She was really confused. She was like, "How they managed to get out of there?" Because she had seen the previous
Yeah.
episodes, and I had to explain it to her. And I explained it to her like this. Timmy made Martinis, and he used a random substance that Tabitha called the most volatile substance in the universe, and then it started to smoke, and they were transported out. That's it.
Oh,
That's what happened. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. They just then, and I don't know why they're flying from the
well,
sky.
and that's the thing. He quite literally falls from the sky onto Julian, like, and
Yeah.
in Tabitha-esque form, like we've seen when Hecuba threw Timmy out the window. Is the same exact shot, and it's just Julian getting smacked by Timmy's body.
It was great. So Julian realizes that it's Timmy. He's been
Yeah.
having this thing with Rebecca all night where he's been trying to prove to her that there is a doll that is living. So he grabs on the Timmy and is like, "I've got you now. You're
Yeah.
my proof." Rebecca comes back and he's like, "See, I told you the doll is alive." And she's like, "Oh my God,
They
it's a
give us
doll." Yeah, they give us
they
a
give us
fake
the
out.
fake out. But what's funny is Ben Masters' reaction when Timmy's like, "Oh, I just want to thank you, Mr. Crane, for inviting me to your party, because what a party it was." And he's just like,
Yeah.
He just a really long freak out. Yeah, obviously, once Rebecca gets there, they cut to commercial. We come back, and Rebecca's like, Timmy's in doll mode,
Yeah.
and so it's like, "You're crazy. Like, you need to stop because Alistair's gonna freak out, and you this is not good."
Well, then Tabitha falls from the sky and says, "Oh, I was just doing a bit of bird watching." That was a decent
Yeah,
Tabitha, actually,
that
for
was your
once.
best Tabitha. That has been your best Tabitha.
I struggle so much with that. You know what? I'm a little tipsy, so I feel like that helps.
Oh, it might have helped. Yeah, because my Tabitha, pain and suffering will come to all the citizens of Harmony. Like,
Yeah.
that's my best Tabitha. But you have your Tabitha has come a long way.
It's so bad. And once I start thinking about it too, it just gets worse.
Like,
And yeah,
yes,
it's
no,
so.
no. You got a badge today. You
Thank
got
you. So she said she was just doing bird watching. Rebecca says bird watching at night, and she's like,
yeah.
"Yes, there's owls and night birds and like."
Which again, with gravity and physics, Tabitha came from the sky. There's no tree anywhere.
They just let it go. Isn't
Yeah.
that crazy? But whatever. It's for the story and it's for camp and
Yeah.
it's for fun and
Yeah.
it's not important at all.
Yeah.
And they're not ready to reveal Tabitha as a witch. So they're just showing everybody that she is a witch, but no,
And Tabitha
everybody
offers,
refuses to see it.
yeah, Julian won't let the doll go. Tabitha offers to make Julian his own doll, which at the start was funny. This idea
Yeah.
that Tabitha would make a doll for Julian.
She says, "You're so taken with my doll. You want me to make you one of your own?" So they then leave and go to the book cafe to kind of spy on everybody and see what's going on.
I will say, Timmy was saying thank you for that, and Tabitha says, Juliet, you're gonna send Julian to the a state mental hospital if you're not careful. Like, you got to stop doing this. You're gonna get us in trouble. And then Timmy called Rebecca a hussy.
Well, and Tabitha says he should go to, like, that would be some good revenge on the Cranes, basically.
Yes. And then
crazy.
just as a visualization, if people are not watching the episodes, just know that Tabitha is dressed like Jennifer Coolidge in Legally Blonde. That's pretty much what she's dressed like.
No, she really is. She's got that fucking giant sequin tank top with the pink iridescent sequins.
And fur over her. Like, it's just, she looks like Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh, I really would like a hot dog.
Yeah. Makes you want a hot dog real bad.
Yeah, that's what it is. Real bad. I love her. Have you watched White Lotus? We're not going to go off a tangent. I'm just going to say, have you watched White Lotus?
Hell yes, I have. I love that damn. Who do I look like? Peppa Pig. Monica Vitti. Yes, they're trying to murder me.
Yes. I love that they
She
brought her
deserved
back for
every
season
award
2.
she got.
Oh,
every award.
she did so great, and she seems just so lovely. I love her in everything I've ever
Yeah.
seen her
Oh
in.
yeah. I'm happy
Best
she's
in
had
Show.
a renaissance. Yeah.
She's so funny. She's always
Yeah.
been so funny. But
But
okay.
that's what Tabitha's dressed like, just so we're
Yes.
all over it.
So Timmy and Tabitha go to the book cafe. Let's talk about what's going on with these kids at the book cafe. Kay is plotting on Miguel, honey.
Yeah.
She's plotting on Miguel and Charity. She's saying she's gonna make sure that Charity's vision comes true. The vision that Charity had of them making out, making love.
Yeah.
And she says, "Oh, this was God, Kay. Like you said, Kay is at peak Kay this week.
Yeah, she really is. 1,000%.
She says Miguel is bound to get sick of having a crazy girlfriend." That just made me so. He's bound to get sick of having a crazy girlfriend, and will want someone who isn't the poster child for Girl Interrupted.
That was a great line, and a very early 2000s line.
I loved it. And then she
Early
says,
2000s reference.
all I want to do is love Miguel and have his babies. Oh, is that all, Kay?
Yeah,
Is that
just
all?
that. That's nothing.
Is that all, Ivy Jr.? Is that it?
Pretty much.
So, Miguel and Charity are having, and by the way, Kay is talking to Simone. I didn't say that. She's talking to Simone pre-accident, obviously.
Yes.
So, Miguel and Charity are having a conversation about their experience in the fog, and Charity is talking about how she can't stop thinking about the fact that she had that vision of Kay and Miguel get together making love. Because later she also has a vision of them getting married, but that's we'll get to that. But she says my visions always come true. Yeah. That's the thing. Her visions always come true. He basically tells her she's tired again. Miguel sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's not helpful in any way. But I guess there's no way to kind of talk a person down from something like that.
Yeah.
Beyond that's not true.
Yeah. And Tabitha and Timmy are hearing all of this. And just as an aside, when Simone and Chad and all of that stuff is going on, it did make me laugh that Timmy says it makes him feel icky anytime he sees Chad and Whitney together, which made me think of you, actually, because you've had that conversation many a time on this podcast. And then, of course, when he asks flat out Tabitha, are they brother and sister? Tabitha's like, I'm not going to tell anybody because it's more fun that way. So we get that. But then also Tabitha is overhearing Kay talking about what she's going to do. And Tabitha's like, all right, cracks her knuckles and says, I got you. Let me see how I'm going to help you out. And so she basically tells Timmy, like, I'm going to do this. Timmy walks away again at some point. Timmy's walking away way more than he should ever be. And he hauls ass out of the scene while Tabitha's going to go try and talk to Kay and say, I got your back, girl. What you need?
Well, she goes to Kay and she says, I'm sorry. She goes to Kay and she stirs the pot a little bit and she says, go after what you want, dear. Don't let anyone or anything get in your way. And Kay looks at her and says, I'm not. And Tabitha says, she doesn't need my help.
Yeah. But then also, are we, and please forgive me because I haven't been watching like you have, but Tabitha and Kay are cool like that now, where Kay just says, I'm gonna fuck Miguel. Like,
yeah.
Tabitha, like, we're gonna have sex.
It's been a very long time since we saw this little situation between Tabitha and Kay, but it was actually the same time where Tabitha gave Charity the pendant, the evil pendant.
Okay, evil.
So
evil
that's
Charity.
that's how long it's been since Tabitha found out, air quotes, from Kay, where Kay confided in her that the boy that she wants is Miguel and that he's in love with Charity. And Tabitha gives her this advice in that time back then, saying there was a guy like that when I was a kid, and I hate that I didn't go after what I wanted. I should have gotten what I wanted because he ended up having a miserable life with that other woman anyway. And like, she spins this yarn for her.
Got it.
So
thank you for that. That's helpful because I did not. I mean, it's very easy to know who knows who's secret in this
Mhm.
show, but that is one of those ones that I was like, wait. And I know Tabitha and Kay will eventually get closer later in the series, but I was like, whoa, wait, you're telling the old lady that from next door that you're gonna go have okay, that's new information for me. So thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, yeah. The Kay is aware that Tabitha knows about
What
her
she's up
love
to.
for Miguel
Yes.
and everything, and that she's trying to break up Charity and Miguel.
She
Like,
doesn't know that Tabitha's back there trying to help. So
no, she does not know that.
yeah.
She does not know that.
What
But
a great friend to have.
if you're evil, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, if you're up to nefarious things, yes, Tabitha is a
Yeah.
good friend to have. So uh Kay goes back to the Lopez Fitzgerald home with Miguel because for whatever reason she's staying at his house. I mean, I know what reason. She weaseled her way in. She's
Yeah.
staying at his house in his bed. She plans to seduce Miguel tonight. She puts her plan in motion. Miguel comes walking down the hallway and she starts to cry loudly so that he can hear
Yeah.
her. So he knocks on the door, which this is his bedroom. This is an important fact I'm making and point that I'm making that Kay is staying in Miguel's bedroom. Miguel is staying in Luis's
Yeah.
bedroom. But he walks down the hallway, hears Kay turn on the waterworks.
Yeah.
He knocks on the door. He's like, Kay, what's wrong? What's wrong? And she plays coy, right? She's like, "No, I don't want to be a burden. Oh, I'm sorry you had to hear me like this. No, don't worry about me." He's like, no, what is it? Tell me what it is. And she says, nobody loves me.
Yeah. I'm unhappy. Nobody loves me. I'm so unhappy.
I'm so unhappy. Nobody loves me. And Miguel says, that's not true. Your parents love you. Ah! That was so funny. He says, that's not true. Your parents love you and your sister and your brother. And then he says, and me. And she goes, you do? And he says, yeah, you're my best friend. And she says,
And that's what we all want to hear.
not like that, Miguel. I want someone to love me the way I want the kind of love that I saw tonight at Sheridan and Luis's engagement party. I want somebody to not be able to live without me. I want someone who loves me romantically, right? And he says, well, Reese. And she goes, Reese.
Yes. I was gonna say, I need you to say, Reese is crazy about you because the way she delivered, like her, like, I love, please forget, like, I need someone to love me. Like it's all like in that lower, like the diaphragm. And then all of a sudden she's like, well, Reese is crazy about you. And to which she's Reese. I mean,
Yeah. And then he's like, well, if you don't like Reese, that's okay. Like, if you're not
yeah.
into him anymore. And
What a
she's,
bad wingman over there, by the way, but
I
whatever.
mean, but you know what? He says that Kay is his best friend. So his
Yeah.
loyalty should lie with
Yes.
Kay and
That
whatever
is true.
Kay wants.
That is true.
And he is not the nicest to Reese. Let's be real
Yeah.
about that. At the beginning, you know what? I'm going to go on another tangent. At the very beginning of this show, it was posited to us that Kay had to be nice to Reese because Reese was basically Miguel's best friend, and if anybody's mean to Reese, then Miguel would never like them and never be
Got
friends
it.
with them. But
Oh,
then,
another
but
puzzle
then
piece.
Miguel spends the next 500 episodes being extra rude to Reese. He's not the nicest to Reese. They hang out, but he's
Yeah.
like, he doesn't explicitly say like shut up Reese all the time,
Yeah.
but actually he may have said it once or twice, but he definitely is like, nobody wants to hear that right now, Reese. He says that kind of stuff to him all the time.
Yeah.
He's not the nicest to Reese, but anyway, so yeah, Kay, now we're at Kay's his best friend, and so
Yeah.
his loyalty should be with Kay. So he says Reese, she says not Reese. I don't want Reese.
Yeah.
Who would want that geek boy,
Yeah.
nerd boy? And then she says, maybe I should leave and never come back. Maybe I should go someplace else and never come back. And then Miguel like sits down on the bed next to her and he tells her, you're so beautiful, you're smart, you're funny. Someday you'll find someone. And she says, well, I was hoping that someone would be you. And he says, well, I love Charity.
Yeah.
we're not getting very far
Every time.
here. He says, I love Charity, so there can't be anything between us. Um, and then Kay brings up their mine shaft conversation. She says, well,
Yes.
remember what we talked about in the mine shaft? But you know what? If I was Kay, I would also bring up not just the mine shaft, but the conversations they had subsequently. They've had multiple conversations, like 2 other conversations after the mine shaft, wherein Miguel said the same things to her, and in one of those conversations, he kissed her again.
Yeah.
So if I were her, I would kind of be bringing those things up. Like, I just keep feeling like you're leading me on a little
Yeah.
bit, and I love you, and I want to be with you, and
Well, I mean, yeah, like when they were in hell, I mean, he was talking about like loving her and stuff like that. I mean, like
yeah,
she had that as well.
yeah,
So, but my what her greatest tactic I felt of these episodes was Kay uses an incredible thing where she talks about Charity's premonition of the 2 of them being together, and she point blank tells Miguel Charity's premonitions have always been right. So if that's the case, then we're gonna end up together. So that's why it's on my mind. So she makes it less like that she's being like an Ivy and going over there naked. Is that she's like, my brain's kind of fogged up right now, intended, is that she's got that on her mind because Charity had that premonition about the 2 of them together.
she says, what if you don't really love Charity? What if you really love me? He starts to get a little agitated. Because she says, you said that if Charity never came to town, then we would be together. He says, well, Charity did come to town, and that is the reality, and we have to live in the reality. It's a fair point from Miguel. One point for Miguel right there. Just the one. 10,000 for Kay, 1 for Miguel. But then yeah, she brings up the visions. He says, well, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Basically, he's like, I love Charity. I'm going to spend my whole life loving Charity, and I'm going to get married to Charity. That's what he says to her.
Yeah.
And as he gets a little more worked up, he's saying, I love Charity. I love her now for the rest of my life. And Charity didn't know what she was saying about the visions. He says Charity didn't know what she was saying. She saw the statue of the 2 lovers and got confused and thought it was us. He's an idiot. I can't stand him.
I know.
And then he says, I know you want someone to love you, but it can't be me. Then Kay turns on the waterworks again, honey. And she says, I'm sorry. Because he's getting agitated. He's now gotten up off the bed. He's moving away from her. She's trying to reel him back in. So she starts to cry. She says, I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to be a burden to you. I'm just having all these feelings. My mind's fogged up, like you said. And he says, we're like family. You could never be a burden to me. This is what family does for each other. We care for each other. We take care of each other. And he comforts her, and he comes back to the bed and sits back down. And she asks him very timidly, she says, could you? Oh, no, never mind. And he's like, what? What do you need? What do you need? And she says, I don't think I'm going to be able to go to sleep alone. Could you just stay here with me tonight? Could you just like stay right here with me in the bed? And he reluctantly agrees. He reluctantly agrees. And so they're like laying in the bed. And then she says, could you take your clothes off? And his reaction was exactly my reaction, which was, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think me and Miguel said it at the exact same time. What?
Yeah.
She says, well, and then she says, well, your clothes are damp from all the fog. It's wet and it's just like a little uncomfortable. And he's like, oh, you're right. I'll take my clothes off. And she says, I know that you'll never try anything with me, Miguel. I know I'm safe with you. And then her voiceover is, I'm safe with you, but you're not safe with me.
I know. And again, what's funny is off the podcast, it made me think of something earlier, because when she was like, Miguel, we're friends. I know you can trust you. I know I can trust you, but you can't trust me. And I heard Tamisha Iman go, you might hit a lot of things, but you won't hit me.
You won't hit me.
But time I hit you
Mm.
is that Miguel says that now. Kay says that now. I sat there and I was like, "You're right. My clothes they do feel a little dampy." I'm like, "Go put on your Power Rangers pajamas. Why are you getting
Thank you.
naked?"
That's exactly what I wrote. I didn't write Power Rangers, but so this is why I said at the very beginning of this that Kay is in Miguel's room. They're in his bedroom. His pajamas are in a drawer right
Yes.
next to him. He's standing at his chest of drawers.
Yeah.
He's standing at his dresser. Put on your pajamas. You don't have a t-shirt?
No, he
You
goes
don't
full
have dry
Desperate Housewives.
clothes?
No, he
All
goes
you
full
have
Desperate Housewives.
all you have is a wet tuxedo. Those are all the clothes you have.
Yeah.
This is your house. No. Yeah, he goes full what I almost said Jesse Metcalf. He goes
Yeah.
full Desperate Housewives, whatever that character name was in that. I
Yeah.
haven't watched that in years, but I saw some clips on my TikTok recently.
And it's always funny to me because I'm like, "Oh, it's Miguel." Like for everybody, they were like, "Look at the new hot guy," and I'm like, that's Miguel. I've been seeing him for years.
No, when John Tucker Must Die, you remember when that movie
I
came
remember
out?
that.
When
That
that
movie
movie
was a
came
big
out,
movie. It was a big deal.
I was like, "Oh my God, Miguel's in this movie!" I went to the theater to see it,
Yeah,
and a lot of my friends at school didn't watch Passions. They didn't know what
they
I
were
was
like,
talking
"Who's that
about.
guy?"
Yeah, they didn't
Funny
know
is,
what I was
all
talking
my
about.
friends, we went and we were like, "Look, Miguel has a movie."
Miguel has a movie. Miguel's big show.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
the
much.
Harmony Hunk contest all over
Yeah.
again.
But no, yeah, he's got no Animaniacs pajamas. He got no Power Rangers pajamas. He's just got boxers.
No, yeah,
Not that I don't want to negate the fact that that is going to be pleasing to the viewership, but
it was nonsensical.
yeah, there you go.
It was nonsensical
Hey,
because
but
he
at
was
least you
clearly
know what?
uncomfortable.
At
He
least when he takes his shirt off, he doesn't get Sam greased up because that's just a different level of secretion, or
Well,
maybe
and he's
he hasn't
too
earned that
young.
right.
I think
Yeah,
they're sexualizing him just a bit because he's too young to
yep,
sexualize him
I
to the
agree.
level that they sexualize Sam
Yeah,
or Luis. He is
and
too
we
young.
couldn't get him. Yeah, we don't get the mega sexualizations of like Sam and Louise because then we get the noise that goes. Passions gets horny. Like
Yeah.
we
Passions
know the
after
soundtrack.
dark.
Yeah, yeah, Skinamax. We get those specific noises that are letting us know that Passions is getting horny. Um, and I was like, "Oh, we didn't hear that." I'm like, "Okay, they still need that level of danger, but that's as close as we're gonna get because."
Yeah,
But
and I mean he is a child, so I'm like he's
I have,
too
yeah, no one has
he's
ever. Well,
when I was a teenager, I probably would have been all about it. But as a
no, yeah.
34-year-old woman looking at this teen body, ugh, hard pass.
Yeah,
Moving on, right? Bring me Luis. Where is
yeah.
Luis?
Miguel Lopez Fitzgerald must die.
Oh yeah, yeah. So he gets
So they
naked.
get together in bed.
Yeah, he gets
That
in
is
bed.
crazy to me.
He
And to
gets in bed with her. Like I've been saying, he's an idiot. He's so stupid. But also part of me, I don't know because is he an idiot or is he kind of into this? Right? Like on some level, is he not putting on pajamas on purpose? Because he could very easily put on pajamas. And
I
I would
wish,
say if I was Kay, that is something I would very easily read into. Why didn't he put on his pajamas? He
and
clearly wants
again,
me.
more tangible evidence than Simone. My thing is, I do think Miguel's an idiot. Like, I wish they would have made him more three-dimensional and not a himbo. Like, it's really annoying that we don't have any voiceovers of him being like, "Wow, Kay looks beautiful." Like we don't get anything.
You know what? You just blew my mind because I just realized I've never heard a voiceover from him.
Miguel
I've heard
has
a
not.
voiceover from everybody else. He's got an empty head. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
he gets nothing, and it's really frustrating for me because I'm like, look at almost all the characters have. Even TC is like, "I'm gonna kill Julian," if
No,
you know.
even Jessica has had voiceover. I have never heard a Miguel voiceover. He's so empty headed.
Yeah, because I really do think I wish we would get this like, wow, Kay, I really do love Kay, but I love Charity. Like I would love just that teeter totter of him saying something like that, and we never get that. We just hear what he thinks, and what he thinks is he just wants to be with Charity. And what's annoying to me is that it takes so much to get that information out. Yeah, we get nothing. But
Never.
again, I have never, well, I've, no, I won't say that, but like, who he sits there and he really says, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna hold you while you fall asleep. Meanwhile, again, I love her, I'll still fight for her, but you have slowly been churning my brain and making me come around to the conclusion, because I'm going, where the fuck is Pilar?
I knew you were about to say, "Where is Pilar?" Excuse me,
She's
Pilar.
not here the whole week. She didn't show up the whole week.
What are you doing, ma'am? You're not at work. Ivy's in bed. What are you doing? Where are you at? She just at the Crane Mansion cleaning the floors for no reason.
Hey, and do you know where you need to go if you want to hook up and not be disturbed? The Lopez Fitzgerald house. That's the house where you go fuck.
Her house is
Because
the party
Teresa
house.
was ready to go there with Ethan on the fucking pull out couch, or no, well, pull out, and then now Miguel's got a beautiful woman in his bed, and ain't no supervision there.
Half naked. They are both half naked. Children, half naked teenagers at your house. Okay, girl. You are right. Thank you for bringing that up, because I wouldn't have said anything. I was going to let Pilar slide this week. I was going to let her slide
No, I
this
didn't,
week.
because I'm like, I just, you have, as a Latino, you have guests in your house, you're at your house. Like I would, and then I have my young kid at the house with this really beautiful woman. I mean, like, I think I'd be very aware of that.
I think for me, it's like when Pilar is arguing with her kids about her house, it just throws me. Like,
Yeah.
why are you arguing with your child about whether or not they're
Then
gonna have
go
sex in
live
your
there.
house? Why are you arguing with them about this? Mama would be like, this is not. You and I are not having a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm telling you something. Wait, you're confused.
Yeah.
Actually, I say that to my students sometimes. Like, you and I are not having a conversation. I'm telling you something. We're not. This is not a dialogue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and speaking of people that you don't want at your house, Tabitha and Timmy left the book cafe and go up to the basement, up to the attic.
I loved this. Let me say this.
They give us more three-dimensionality with them than any of the other characters.
I loved seeing this new part of her house. Loved it. I didn't know exactly where they were. And yeah, for a minute, I did think they were in the basement, but then I was like, oh, wait, they can't be in the basement.
Yeah.
The friends are in the basement.
Yeah, they're in the attic.
They're in the attic. I loved seeing this new space.
Will be utilized way more throughout the series.
I loved seeing it. I loved, like, just kind of seeing how there's so much stuff, and she's sitting in her rocking chair. It was great.
Oh, it was great because Timmy is so fed up of them being there. And I thought about you so fast because it made me laugh so hard. Tabitha and Timmy are up there and they're frustrated because she can't talk with Timmy. It's uncomfortable. I mean, we all know when we've had house guests, it's very uncomfortable because you're okay with it, but you're on alert that somebody's in your house.
Mm-hmm.
So especially for Tabitha and Timmy, where Timmy can run around freely. I mean, he talked about how he's gonna hate not having showers at some point. Like he's talked about all this stuff. So I laughed so hard that Tabitha and Timmy are in the attic, and she's like, why did you do this? Timmy's like, why did you do this in the first place? And Tabitha's like, I had no choice, Timmy. Their house imploded.
And I just happened to be out there. I had to fake being neighborly. Yeah.
But the word imploded just made me think of you right away. I was like,
it did. Their house did implode. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
gone with the wind.
And Tabitha realizes that her main goal again is to keep Charity at home. Yeah.
So Charity, she hears Charity like stirring about in her room. Charity is having visions, a lot of visions. She's having a rough night, this poor girl. I don't often feel bad for Charity, honestly. Like, I just find her character very annoying, but I actually felt kind of bad for her just because the girl just wants to sleep. Yeah. Maybe Miguel is right. Maybe she is just tired. She can't never get no sleep. So rest. She's having these visions. She has one of the first vision we see is that of Kay and Miguel getting married.
Yes.
And Miguel saying to Kay, I never loved, I thought I loved Charity, but I don't love her. I love you.
Yeah.
And then we see one of Whitney in a church with a baby crying out to God. Or maybe she
Yep.
wasn't in a church. I don't know where she was, but she's crying out to God, to the heavens, imploring the heavens, saying, I didn't know I was committing incest.
Yeah.
Okay, so those words are spoken.
Oh, yes.
And she's rocking this crying baby, asking God for help. Then the next vision we see is of TC killing Julian, choking
Yes.
the life out of him. And then we see the vision of Simone getting hit by a car.
Yeah.
And that's the one that kind of wakes Charity up, jolts her
Yeah.
awake. Tabitha, well, actually, that's not what woke her up. The vision didn't wake her up. Tabitha did.
Yeah. They Tabitha and Timmy can hear her, and they're like, oh God, what is going on? We need to make sure that she stays here. When she wakes up, I love Juliet Mills, but if I saw her and Timmy at the foot of my bed, I would have gotten a heart attack instantly. I just would have been terrified.
Yeah.
Scared out of my mind.
Yeah. So yeah, they go in and it wakes up Charity. They did not intend to wake her up, but Tabitha just falls through the door. And Charity wakes up, tells Tabitha about all her visions, and Tabitha's like, oh, you're just having some bad dreams. I'll go get you some tea. You need to stay here. Don't you dare leave this house. Don't you dare go out into this fog. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna hurt yourself. Your head is a little fuzzy. You should stay here. I'll go get you some tea. So she goes down to get her some tea, intending to drug this girl. Let's be clear.
Yeah. So I wanted to chime in on that, is that it makes me laugh because did you ever watch the movie Superbad?
Yeah.
Remember when the cops are like, we cock block McLovin. We're supposed to be guiding his cock. That is what Tabitha is doing. And again, you can cut that out, but that's pretty much what Tabitha's doing, is that she's sitting there going, we need to make sure that Miguel does not have sex with Charity, because it's so funny to me, again, this whole idea that the minute Miguel inserts himself into Charity's going to go Super Saiyan, go into her full powers, and kill Tabitha and Timmy. Like, it's just a weird concept.
It's a dumb concept.
Yes.
I can't. There's no other way to say it. It's stupid.
Because I'm like, it really is just, I mean, if love is that powerful, then shouldn't them, in the very essence of loving each other, enact all of this? Like, but no, it is, if she loses her purity to Miguel, she becomes all powerful and will destroy Tabitha and Timmy.
And
that's based off
they
of this.
rarely call it, anybody in this show, they rarely call it sex. I think the very first
Making
time
love.
we've heard it called sex, it might not be the first time, but it's one of the rare times, was last week.
Make love is
in one of Charity's visions. So they always say they're making love.
Yeah.
They're making love. So I think, and this is what I'm giving to Passions, this is a hand me to them. Because they use that wording, they put a higher emphasis on sex, and they make it clear that sex is an act, a huge act of love, versus just loving somebody. It's like the next
justifying step. This old 90s soap opera.
I shouldn't be doing it. Honestly, I have to give some justifications to continue watching.
Oh yeah.
Like sometimes I have to like.
I know full well what the lore is, but it just makes me laugh to see Charity in like a Super Saiyan. If anybody watches Dragon Ball, like she becomes like all powerful and is like glowing the minute that
that's her Sailor Moon.
Yes. She's fighting evil by moonlight, winning love by daylight.
Never running from a real fight. She is the one named Charity. Ah. She will never turn her back on a friend. She is always there to defend. Actually, you know what? The Sailor Moon theme song kind of works for Charity.
Oh, yeah, it really does.
She is the one on whom we can depend. She is the one named Sailor K, Sailor Miguel, Sailor Reese, Sailor Simone,
Sailor Ross. Tabitha says, hey, I'm going to make you tea. And tells Timmy, yeah, we're drugging her. She's going to go to sleep because Kay needs all the time she can get with Miguel. to make sure that they are together.
Yeah.
So
So they come back with the roofies, but
yes,
Charity's gone, honey.
yeah,
Good
I
for
was
her.
I was impressed that she left
I was
on her
glad that she left. I didn't like that. I didn't like that they were about to drug her. I didn't like that, well, especially since it wasn't that Charity was trying to get out just to check on her boyfriend and make sure he wasn't having sex with Kay. It was to like save Simone's life.
yeah.
So I was like fully on board. Yeah, girl, go tell somebody that you saw Simone getting hit by a car.
And that's what's distracting her because she saw so many visions that you're like, I mean, like, I think I would tell Whitney right away that she's going to have an incest baby. But what's driving her ultimate goal is I just saw Simone die. So I
Yeah.
need to go figure that out. But she goes to find Miguel first to tell Miguel what she saw.
Which
Uh,
wouldn't you call the
the
Russells?
Russells, yes,
Yeah.
that's what I wrote down. I was like, I mean, I understand her curiosity of like, I just saw in bed, Charity and I'm sorry, I saw Kay and Miguel in bed together or seeing them getting married, but it's there, but it's not there. Her main thing is to go check on Simone, but she goes to Miguel to go check on Simone. So
Yeah, she goes to
that's a
Miguel
writer's thing to
first.
get them. Yeah.
Yeah, so she goes. It stops Kay's plan in its tracks, which I don't know that she was ever gonna get very far. To be
Yeah.
honest, he didn't seem like he was fully on board. I don't know that just like I imagine her plan was to
Just
basically
do it
to
on her
basically
own.
assault him.
Yeah, I think so too. Because what I'm or just keep trying the tactics before that to but what else do you have besides being in bed together? And
Yeah.
yeah, so I
Laura at the when back in the day when we first started watching the show, Laura called her a rapist. Kay the rapist. And I mean, that seems like what she was trying to do tonight. Like that seems like what she just
yeah.
wanted to get him in bed with her so that she could attempt to have her way with him once
Mhm.
he went to sleep.
Yeah.
But anyway, Charity shows up, squashes that, sees them in bed together, comes in through the window again. What's with these people coming in through the window?
Yeah.
Like, come to the front door. But
Yeah.
whatever. She comes in through the window. She doesn't really say anything about them being in bed because she is really more interested in figuring out what's
Which
going on with Simone.
I I get that. I don't think I could not have focused on what I just saw first.
She does bring it up
And it
later.
is eventually, but it takes so long. And I know
Yeah.
Charity is good. Like she is supposed to be the definition of goodness here.
Yeah.
So I think she really does give them the benefit of the doubt, but it is difficult for us to sit there and go like, you just saw them in bed and you're not gonna. So, but she does. She bypasses that and says, we got to figure out the Simone stuff, and then I got
Yeah.
other stuff to tell you. But
Yeah.
meanwhile, Tabitha and Timmy are on their hunt for Charity because they're like, we gotta stop Charity from going and interrupting Miguel and Kay.
Yeah. They are looking for Charity and then they come across Simone's body in the street. This was fucking awful and stupid.
This is
And
so bad. This
it
is
was
so bad.
awful and it was so stupid and it doesn't serve a purpose unless there's a later narrative that's going to be told about the driver of the car.
Yeah.
But if they're not going to do an investigation into who hit Simone, this was stupid.
Yeah.
Um
I agree.
so
Now, again, does it track that Tabitha's that evil? It does track. However, I just cannot imagine who sat there in the writer's room and said, Tabitha and Timmy find Simone's body. And instead of just leaving it be, which I thought would have been safer for them, right? Like it's a safety plot device for Tabitha just to be like, we don't have time for this. Like, if she dies, she dies. You've seen me kill thousands of people. Timmy, we gotta go. What they do instead is they're like, oh my God, if Charity sees, if anybody comes onto this, it's gonna be a big hoopla, and now Kay and Miguel won't have sex. That's a stupid writing thing. And then it makes them complicit, and Tabitha and Timmy are literally dragging Simone's body around,
it
dragging the body.
doesn't make any sense. They
It's
drag
bad.
her body out of the street and cover it with newspaper. But it's still close enough that somebody's going to stumble upon it.
Yeah.
Okay? And yeah, they cover her body in newspaper. Timmy at one point is like Tabitha, because Tabitha says, "I don't know. She might not be dead. She says, maybe she's just knocked out. And Tammy's like, well, if that's the case, call somebody. Take her to the
Yeah.
hospital, Tabby. Like, we have to save Simone. But Tabitha's like, no, whatever. Fine. Tabitha's an evil witch.
That
But
tracks. That tracks. But why put her in that position? Just if she sees the body, first of all, I don't know why they made that happen. But if she sees the body, just say, that's not what we're here for. I have other
well,
to do.
the thing is, what made this so stupid, what made this so incredibly stupid was that she drags the body, puts the newspaper over it. And let me real quick say that Miguel has called Chad and alerted Chad and Whitney that something is wrong and they're going out to look for going out to look for Simone.
Yeah.
So Tabitha drags the body, puts the newspapers over the body, and all of the kids immediately find it immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
Tabitha's still there. There was no point.
Purpose.
There was no point in that. Again, unless we're going to go down this narrative about who hit Simone, are we going to investigate what happened to Simone?
Yeah.
But I don't think we are.
And
So
again,
it really just really bothered me. I just felt like it was so morose. I felt like it was just so it was disgusting. In like the vision of just somebody dragging a young girl's body, a young black girl's body across the
very
street.
specifically.
It just, I was like,
was
why
difficult.
would you do this?
Well, and again, what messed with me the entire time as I was watching it was that when I was watching, they're tired, they've been walking around, and so Timmy's not looking where he's going, and the fog is happening. The reason they find Simone's body is he tripped over Simone's, lifeless body on the floor, and so that it was like, I was like, I wrote down in my notes at first, isn't it funny how they try and give Timmy shtick anywhere he goes? And then I was like, oh no, they wrote that on purpose. They wanted Timmy to trip over somebody's dead body. Like, it was out of pocket. It was out of line. It was just kind of, again, I get that Tabitha's evil, but even then, her main goal is to stop Charity and Miguel. I don't know why she would even mess with Simone. Like,
yeah,
they could have done so many other things.
So let's go back to where we were talking about poor Simone. Before she got hit by the car, right? All the kids find her. They scream. TC and Eve immediately run out of their house. Everybody comes out, sees Simone in the street.
Because seemingly it's outside the Russell's house.
It's right outside. Eve realizes that she does have a pulse. She says, let's get her to the hospital. They get her to the hospital. Finally, they're taking somebody to the hospital. And when they get her there, they do the defibrillators on her. They try to bring her back. Eventually, the doctors say that she's in bad condition. She's in critical condition. She may not make it through the night. You all probably need to say your goodbyes.
Yeah, we can't stabilize your daughter. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and so Whitney and Chad have a conversation at the hospital where, well, actually, TC comes over and is talking to the two of them and is saying, how could Simone have gotten hit by a car? She's so careful. She would have never gotten hit by a car. She's so careful. She always looks both ways before she steps out into the street. She's just so too cautious to just get hit by a car in the middle of the night. Like, it just wouldn't happen. And he's like, nah, she's just too smart. And then he walks away, and Whitney kind of deduces. She's like, oh my God, you can see my room from the street. What if she saw the two of us kissing? She got distracted and was devastated and was distracted, and then that's how she ended up getting hit by the car. So now she's blaming herself.
Yes.
Chad goes off to get her a drink or some water because he's like, I'm here for you. I love you. I'm gonna, whatever.
Yeah.
So she goes in to talk to Simone and tells Simone that if she pulls through this, I promise to God I'll never see Chad again. Why? I mean, I know this is the bargaining. She's in the bargaining stage, right, of grief. But that's and you know how religious these fucking people are. So now that she's made this promise to God,
She's got
Yeah,
to follow through.
she's got to follow through.
So
I already
we're
see
setting
that
up that.
coming.
Yes, it's
I
coming.
I already see that coming, and it's annoying. Oh God, I'm already so annoyed.
It's because that's where we're going. That's exactly where we're going.
I'm already so annoyed. But
Also, at some point, there's a conversation between Kay and Whitney.
mm-hmm.
And Kay's like, well, first of all, they establish right away in these last few episodes that Simone is like perfect and always, looks both ways before she crosses the street. Like something that we never hear about Simone, but they're like, Simone's so perfect. She's so wise. She doesn't do anything without like double checking stuff. So they've set up that thing so that way Kay is able to say like, what threw her off? And Kay implies that it's probably because she saw something between Chad and Whitney. And she is heartless. She is soulless in this. Like she uses this time to say, I think I think she saw you with Chad, and you're the reason why your sister's on her deathbed.
Yeah, and she says, "Face it, Whitney, you stole Chad from Simone." She says Simone saw him first. Ugh, girl,
Yeah.
that's not how it works. But
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
But you know what? In Kay's world, that's how it works. She knew
Mhm.
Miguel first,
Yeah.
so she has first dibs, right?
Yeah. And
So
we get I'm sorry. We
no,
we
go
get
ahead.
we get this internal monologue of Kay while they're all like saying that Simone's probably gonna die, like say your goodbyes, all this stuff. Kay goes, "You are my best friend, Simone. I can't lose you. I need you to help me get Miguel." I was like, I thought we were gonna get a little sense of Kay's like relationship with Simone, and then the cherry on top is, I need you to help me get Miguel. And I was like, oh my god, yeah, she's still. I mean, that's Kay already. That's regular Kay, but that's also soulless Kay talking.
She is she's a
Yeah,
piece of work. I
that
mean,
pissed me off. I was like, come
yeah,
on, you do care about Simone. Like I
yeah.
felt like they were gonna give us something good, but then it ended with, I need you to help me get Miguel.
I think they're really leaning into the fact that she doesn't have a soul. In
Yeah.
this moment, they're trying to remind us
And
that she
then
doesn't
Whitney
have a
does
soul.
say, you're soulless.
Yeah,
How can you be so soulless? Yeah.
yeah. So that's where we leave it with them this week, right?
Yeah.
That's like all of that.
Yeah,
Oof.
pretty much. Because we just wait. Eve does say at some point, I can't lose another baby.
Oh yeah.
So, and TC hears it, but we don't get any reaction shot of him. It's just something
We
she
see that
does
we
say.
know that he heard it.
He
Yeah.
heard it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
So that's where we kind of leave it with them this week. I do want to make one little note. TC says at one point, because Eve like hears a noise, and I think she heard
The car.
the car.
Yeah.
Which also let me actually I thought about this too. I'm sorry,
No,
but
go for it.
does anybody remember the fact that Eve hit Orville with her car? It's called karma. It's called karma. Eve hit Orville with her car, and she never paid the price for it. Nobody
Yeah.
ever even brought it up. We never did an investigation. They just threw that storyline away.
Yeah.
They put it in the garbage. So
Somebody did, and they sedated them.
yeah, well, exactly. I do want to talk about very quickly. This is a short little silly little thing. But before all of this happens, TC and Eve are in bed, and Eve hears the car, but she's like, "What was that?" And TC's like, "I don't think it was anything." And she's like, "Are the girls still up?" And he says, "Well, it's a school day tomorrow, so they should have both been in bed by now." Are these girls in school? Is Whitney still in school? Are Teresa and Whitney seniors in high school? Like, if here's the thing, if he hadn't said that, I would have continued going on with they graduated. Like they have graduated. But am I meant to believe that Teresa is still a senior in high school?
Yeah. Trying to get married.
I don't know. Yikes. Okay. We're gonna finish it off strong with Shawise. This is what y'all all been waiting
That's a
for.
lot. That's
Yeah,
a lot.
I hope y'all been hanging in there with us because this was great.
Yeah.
This was great.
Yeah.
Top-notch TV. Ugh, so good. This was what we tune in for Passions for.
Yeah.
These kinds of things. So we pick up with Sheridan and Louisa. well, not Luis arguing, Sheridan fighting with Luis because
Yeah.
she saw him making love to another woman on the night of their engagement party, which is also the night of their actual engagement, right? They just got
Yeah.
engaged today.
Yeah.
And she wants him to leave. He won't leave. He swears on his mother's life that it wasn't him. And that's pretty telling. Like, Luis loves his mama. Okay? He loves his mama. He says, I swear on my mama. I swear on my mother's life that it wasn't me. And she says, I saw you with my own eyes. You're not going to get me. You've been lying to me this entire time. She goes on and on and on about not wanting the kind of marriage that she's seen from Julian and Ivy and Alistair and her mother. This loveless marriage, this marriage without any trust. And he says, kind of the flip of that same coin. It's like two sides of the same coin, where he says, I vowed to myself I would never settle for a marriage less than what my parents had. So, you and I, this is big for me, that I really love you, and I think that you are it for me.
Yeah.
And he says, you're the only woman I want. He says to her, this is your family trying to come between us. And then he says he knows how he can prove it wasn't him. And he calls to talk to Packer, the crooked ass cop. That crooked ass cop. Todd Packer.
I heard that on the podcast last week, and I laughed because I was like, that's who I thought of. I thought he'd come in. What's up, my nerds?
Yeah. I was like, of course, this is crooked ass cop's name is Packer. Crooked ass, bribed ass cop. Stupid ass Packer. So he calls to talk to Packer, but Packer is already gone off duty. He's not at the station. Sheridan says, how convenient. And she's right. How convenient.
Yeah.
And then she tells him that there's no way she can ever get past what she saw with her own eyes. And she leaves her own home. She's trying to get away from him because he won't leave. And I get this. Like, but you're a billionaire. Call security. Frank Lomax, call him up. Y'all remember Frank Lomax?
Oh my God. I love that you had that in your IMDb in your head.
He's the head of Crane Security. Call him up. Come get this man. Somebody come get her. She's dancing like a stripper. Somebody come get him. But she leaves the cottage because she needs to get away from him. He follows her out, of course.
Yeah.
And he says that before they get married, which she's telling you that she doesn't want to marry you. What do you mean before we get married? We're not getting married. I'm telling you, I don't want to marry you. He says, before we get married, I have to prove that I'm innocent and that I need to know that you trust me completely. And he says, I want our children to see that their parents love and trust each other. And just the mere mention of their children together is like what turns it for Sheridan. She's like,
oh, you thought about that far ahead? Like,
she's like, our children. Oh,
yeah.
Yes, our children. Like, she really loves this idea, this fantasy life that she had thought up with him and her and 2.5 kids. And
it's difficult because it's frustrating because like I get being suspicious. She saw what she saw. I understand that. So I'm not gonna negate any of that. But when I sit there and I think about that man digging up the grave where she was buried alive and never giving up to if he's trying to get back at the Cranes, let her die in that box. Like,
exactly.
Never gave up.
Exactly.
Ever. So and again, let's say maybe he decided to cheat on her. Maybe something changed and she didn't see it. But he got no benefit of the doubt. So ish, but yeah, she's just like, again, but that's what changes her. She's like, oh yeah, our future kids, if we aren't together, we have no future kids together. And
yeah, and so he follows her out. He says something about the children. She kind of softens a little bit, and she says, but I saw you with my own eyes making love to another woman. And then Ethan and Teresa show up, and Ethan's like, what, you bastard? And he rushes after Louise, but the ladies kind of stop him short before he starts to fight with Louise. Ethan is just getting more and more violent. He's just going straight to violence every single time.
Because he has no money.
Yeah, he's overcompensating. He has no money. He has lost all his what he perceived as his power. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's you know what, Eric? Listen, theater teacher, theater
Yeah.
professor.
Yeah, I was just sitting there going, yeah, he has no money. I mean, like that's you're gonna Julian's not getting his hands dirty, but Ethan has no money, so it's totally fine for him to get his hands dirty. And I mean,
Yeah,
of course, Sheridan is his number one. I mean, it always has been his number one. So
yeah. But that's the only way he can make a show of power
yeah,
is with his body because it's all he
yeah,
owns anymore.
yeah,
Okay, so Ethan and Teresa overhear it, and he attacks, and then Sheridan explains everything that's going on. Teresa says, maybe it was the fog. And Luis says, he says, I'm a cop, and I want to investigate this
yeah,
because I'm a cop. Yeah, and I agree. Yes, let's investigate this. And he asked Sheridan to take him to the house where she saw all of this happen. So they go over there, and meanwhile, Packer, bitch ass Packer, comes to the mansion. You know what? I hate him more than anybody else in this story. I do. I do. I hate him more than anybody else. You and Luis are supposed to, one, be friends,
yeah.
two,
He just got paid
colleagues,
off. Yeah,
three, brothers in blue,
yeah,
okay? Or brown, brothers in brown. Their costumes are brown.
yeah.
But, and then you, like, I also, as I was watching, I was like, I wonder how much they even paid him. You know, like, how much do you
Yeah,
think
I
he
want to
got
know
paid
how
to
much
do this?
because it was presumably a large amount with a vacation, enough to stay away
For
for
two
months.
weeks.
Oh
He
shit!
was,
Oh shit!
he's gone
Okay,
for 2 weeks.
and then enough for him to say, "I don't remember if Luis was at work or not."
Right. Which, of course, you remember if Luis was at work or not.
You just left the day before
Also,
you left. You'll remember.
is there no log? Let me, like, when you go
Yeah,
to work, isn't there a log of you being there? Don't you
yeah.
log in somewhere, clock in somewhere? Don't you sign in somewhere? When I go to my job, I have to sign in and sign out every single day. Am I the only maybe I'm the only person. Maybe that's just me, but I go to my job
But no,
at a
I
school where I have
yeah.
to sign in and I have to sign out. There's a record of
It
me
is
being
not
at
just
work.
two people who know who's there. Even at a Starbucks, if there's two people working at the Starbucks, somebody is gonna know who the two people
Well,
are.
because he has to get paid. Well, I guess cops get paid on the salary. So
But the thing is, they are not the head. I mean, Sam would know.
yeah, they
Sam would
have to
know.
log their hours and
Yeah,
they have to document everything.
yeah,
But the hours also have to get logged because if they're working overtime, they do have to get paid for that. But
yeah,
whatever. Shut up,
yeah.
Tara.
We gotta
Shut
go.
up,
Yeah,
Tara. Just go on. Packer comes to the mansion, gets his stupid blood money, and Julian threatens him, basically saying, if anybody ever finds out about this, you'll pay.
yeah.
Back at the house where the imposter is, Dee Dee wants to role play with the mask. The imposter's ready to destroy it because he has
Julian
been
already
told
talked.
to.
Yeah, Julian said, "Hey, throw that shit away because we're done. I don't need evidence of that, and now y'all need to go to the airport."
So, but Dee Dee has the hots for Luis, so she makes the guy put the mask back on, and they have sex again.
This
But
mask is
this time it gets
state of the
stuck.
art. Yes.
This time the mask gets stuck, which was hilarious. At this point, the group arrives. It's Sheridan, Luis, Ethan, and Teresa. They arrive at the house, knock on the door, and Dee Dee, and you think I know I started this by saying Passions can't trick me anymore, but we start this scene where Dee Dee and the imposter are scrambling. They're panicking because Sheridan and Luis at the door, right? And they're like, we got to get out of this mask. We got to blah, blah, blah. What are we going to do? And so when the door opens, there's an old lady there. And that shit blew me back. I was like, who is this old bitch?
And so this is the thing. What I thought happened was there was a series of cottages that looked the same, like when you're in a subdivision. So I thought maybe Sheridan led them to the wrong house because I was like, wait, I don't remember this old lady. And first of all, old lady is played by first of all, she's the grandma from Happy Gilmore. She was on several episodes of The Golden Girls and The Middle. I mean, she's a famous actress.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Frances Bay, famous character actress. And so I just wanted to throw that out there because she actually gives a fucking incredible performance in this damn
Well, and I wanted to
episode and a
say,
half.
too, because I was gonna look up who she was because I was like, I know this lady. And
She
then I
was
was
in
like,
everything.
I'm not gonna look it up. I'm hosting with Eric this week. He'll do it. I was like, if I recognize this woman, Eric absolutely
Yeah,
recognizes this
Grandma
woman.
from
And
Happy Gilmore is probably what most people will recognize.
yeah,
But a couple episodes of The Middle, she was, I think maybe like 2 episodes of The Golden Girls. I mean, like but if you look, she was on Charmed. I mean, like I looked through her stuff really quickly. ER, the
she's been
wedding.
in a lot. I've seen her.
Yeah,
I've seen in a lot of things.
she's run the gambit. But she's this frail little old lady that's like, I'm sorry, what can I help you with? And she just plays it off like, I'm sorry, nobody lives here. Like it was me. And she goes, I mean, even to the point where she's like, but I saw somebody here, a couple. She goes, oh dear God, like if there's a couple in here, like I'm scared now because I
Yeah.
I
Yeah, they
can't.
ask her, did you see a guy that looks like him? And she's like, no, I've never seen this man before in my life.
Yeah.
She lets them come in and look around. Sheridan looks around, is like, yeah, it looks like the same house. I mean, it's the same cottage. She's like, the lights were low, but I'm pretty sure this is the same place.
Yeah.
And then she goes and checks out the bedroom, and she's like, yeah, this is the bedroom, but nobody's here. So it seems that Sheridan is losing her mind. And this was a really cruel. I mean, all of this is very cruel. Everything that they're doing to Sheridan is horrible
Yeah.
when you really sit back and think
Heck
about
yeah.
it. But this part was especially cruel because y'all didn't have to gaslight her. Y'all could have just left
Yeah.
and the house would just be abandoned.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do this part because if this part actually puts the doubts in her head.
Yeah.
And so that was so
like,
stupid.
I saw what I saw. Yeah.
And I don't know where this old lady came from. They don't ever explain it. They leave, and then she lets the imposter and Dee Dee out of the closet, and she lights up a cigarette, and she's like, the Cranes pay good money.
Yeah,
and
but
that's it.
that means wait, that means fake Sheridan, I'm sorry, fake Luis and Dee Dee got it on while old lady was in another section of the house waiting to be a safety net. But that's the only logical conclusion I have.
It doesn't make
Because
any
they
sense.
don't know that, well, no, they don't know Sheridan and Luis are on their way over there. So they had Julian had the foresight to have little old ladies. That's what I'm saying. It's so far-fetched. But homegirl, Frances Bacon is an incredible performance. When she lights up that cigarette, it's like, hey, yeah, we're about to make a shitload of money whenever the Cranes got to do. But I'm like, it's just so
she's like, I got no love for the Cranes, but they sure do pay well. Yeah. Like, okay, so she's on the take from the Cranes, but I don't know how she got here, why she's here, how we got here. But fine. Moving on. Sheridan and Louise go back to the cottage. Ethan and Teresa move on with their lives.
Yeah, they're done.
And so basically, long story short, Louise and Sheridan get back together because Sheridan starts to think, maybe I'm losing my mind, which honestly, I would think that too. If I was Sheridan in this position, I would be like,
you were just at somebody's house and you saw what you saw, and now it's not what you saw. Yeah.
Yeah. Am I losing use of my faculties? Like, am I losing my mind?
Yeah.
Louise tells her, no, you're not losing your mind. I'm sorry, I'm losing steam.
Yeah.
Okay. Where am I? Turns out the old lady was working for the Cranes. Here we go. Go back to cottage. So Sheridan doesn't know anything. She's like, I don't know anything. She's still a little iffy, not a little iffy on Louise. She knows what she saw, but she now is like so confused. Louise says they need to figure everything out tonight. He says, oh, this was ridiculous. He says, either we get back together tonight or we break up forever. What, sir? Huh? You're gonna give her a ridiculous ultimatum considering what she thinks about you right now?
You of all people should not be throwing that down.
Yeah, you are not in any position to be giving her an ultimatum, an old tomato, as Laura says. And she says to him, I can't talk about it right now. I can't talk about this anymore. And then she closes the door in his face. But then Louise doesn't leave. He knocks on the door and he says, I can't leave without knowing your decision. And she says, Louise, it's over. And she closes the door in his face. But then the very next scene, they rewrite all of that.
Yes, I
Which,
know.
why didn't they cut it out? If you're gonna rewrite it, why not cut it out?
It was very confusing because we end up with Julian and Rebecca for a little bit, and that's where Luis and Sheridan are on their way to go talk to them or say something to them, but they just forgave each, like, it just
Well,
happened way too fast for
it
everything that they
happens.
gave us.
It happens so fast. We come back to them after, like, we go off to Julie and Rebecca for a minute where they're like celebrating their victory, and then Sheridan says that she wants the night and this incident to be over. And she says she loves Luis, she wants to marry him, and she can't live without him. So
Yeah.
yeah, we've just decided to rewrite the whole thing. Like you said, it's way too fast.
Yeah.
Luis is overjoyed. They kiss, but
They're
then
done. They're fixed.
and he says, I knew you could never believe that I would sleep with somebody else. And then she gets like a little, she like walks away like, yeah, and he sees like that doubt in her
Yeah.
eyes. And so then they start to argue again because he's like, I didn't do it. And she's like, I don't want to talk about it.
Yes.
I don't know what happened, but I don't want to talk about it. And
all of that to say they're still gonna go talk to Julian. Like, what? I don't understand why they went to go talk to Julian in the first place.
I didn't get that at all. So yeah, they get back together.
Was that what it was? I can't even come up with the reason why they had to go back to the mansion.
I don't understand. They went back specifically to talk to Julian and Rebecca.
Yeah.
They have a conversation. Sheridan and Luis decide to get back together. Then they go over to the mansion specifically to tell Julian and Rebecca that they are back together. Why? They'll figure it out. They'll find out.
Yeah.
Why are you telling them?
Yeah.
But actually, it was for the best that they did.
And it is funny because Rebecca and Julian are about to go full on Rebecca and Julian and get into some naughty games. Your face, for the people who can't see, you just made the most epic face.
It was disgusting. I was
hey,
disgusted.
Rebecca looked good. I gotta give her, Rebecca looked good. And then all of a sudden,
she came in like in just a tuxedo coat.
Yeah.
And then he was like, we should play orchestra. I'll give you my French horn. And she's like, and I'll tittle your flute. Tittle? Girl, bye.
Oh my God.
Well,
they're in a desk making love position when Sheridan and Luis walk in. And they're like, oh God. And then we do get a funny little shtick about how Julian is gonna show Rebecca his origami moves.
Yeah, well, that was his excuse, was that, oh, I was just showing Rebecca my origami moves. And Luis says, oh, I hear you have a black belt in origami. And then Sheridan's like, origami is the ancient art of folding paper, Julian. Yeah. It was so dumb.
It was so dumb. But I was like, yeah, that's funny. It's cute.
They tell them they're back together. Both Julian and Rebecca are incredulous. They're very like, what? But you saw him with your own eyes, and you're gonna believe him? All he does is lie. Then what's this man's name? Luis gets a page, and he goes over. He doesn't even ask. He gets a page, and he's like, sorry, I have to take. Well, maybe it wasn't a page. It just beeped. So maybe it was his phone.
Oh yeah, yes, it was his pager. I think it was his pager.
Okay, yeah. So then he goes over and just uses Julian's phone, and while he's over using Julian's phone, Julian is talking to Sheridan, saying, "What are you doing? You're repeating your same old patterns. This is the same thing you've always done. You just let men lie to you and humiliate you, but I won't let Luis Lopez Fitzgerald humiliate my sister." And she says, you're right, Julian. I do let men lie to me. So it's going to take more than Luis lying to me for me to give him up. It's going to take more than words. And she says, it's going to take a slap in the face. And then Luis comes back, says, I'm sorry, I'm being called off to a stakeout where I will not be reachable. Huh? Why? Okay.
There's so much here, right? It's like, first of all, Rebecca and Julian are doing everything to desperately stop Sheridan so that they don't have to kill her. And I just thought, again, for Rebecca to be like loyal soldier, like, it's impressive just as a character, is that she's sitting there going like, bro, like, girl, I know I can't tell you what's up, but like, you have to, like, she's in there with Julian going, stop, like, break up with with
And
him.
she really doesn't want to have to kill
Oh
Sheridan.
hell yeah, because she's complicit. I'm sure there's multiple reasons, but one of them being she'd be complicit. But the other is Rebecca doesn't want any. She's not a killer. Like I don't think it's. She's a manipulator. She's a lot of things, but killer is not on her list right now.
She really doesn't want to have to kill Sheridan. Julian really doesn't want to have to kill
Oh
Sheridan
hell yeah,
either.
no, neither. I mean, like he's always going to be conflicted with the fact that he told his mother that he was going to take care of her. So he's
Mm-hmm.
got that on his own conscience. But the fact is, either it's kill or be killed when it comes to Alistair, and so that's what's motivating him. So he figures, let's break them up. This is my better option. And
Yeah.
even before that, Rebecca was, tearing up that murder book that he bought at the book cafe, because they were like, we're good to go.
Yeah, he was
So
like, I guess I don't need this anymore.
yeah,
Yeah. So Sheridan and Luis leave. Julian immediately calls the imposter, says, "You haven't left yet, right?" And he's like, "No,
and you
we're
haven't burned the mask
you
yet,
haven't burnt
right?
the mask yet, right? You haven't destroyed the mask, right?" And he's like, "No." And he says, "I want you to utterly and completely crush my sister's belief in the man that she loves." And then he shares the plan with him later, and he tells him the plan basically is to have Sheridan hear an argument between imposter Luis and Dee Dee, wherein Luis will slap Dee Dee.
Yeah,
And so when he goes over, I'm skipping ahead. They go
yeah,
over to the house to explain this plan in person. And um when he explains the plan, Dee Dee says no. She says, I don't want to get slapped.
yeah,
Like, she says, I didn't sign up for this. And Julian gets real nasty here. He's
yeah,
like, I paid for you and you'll do what I say.
yeah,
It because then we get like some conversation around how Sheridan would never be with a man who would strike a woman, and she thinks it's the worst thing that a man could possibly do. And Rebecca says the same thing. She's like, and I agree. Like, what kind of man would hit a woman? And no, that's just a line you just don't cross.
and also at some point Rebecca's like, do we have to do the hit? Like Rebecca is like, I don't think we need it. Like,
Yeah, she puts makeup on her to like
yeah,
look like she's bruised and stuff, and she's like, we don't. And Julian is like, no, it needs to be done. And at one point, he has Dee Dee call Sheridan to bait her over to get her to
yeah,
come over the house.
basically calling her and being like, you screwed everything up, now he's mad at me, he's gonna hurt me. And Julian does the fake slap sound to make it look like she's being hit on the other end of the phone. But then this upset me too for Julian, because I'm like, we know Julian's three-dimensionality, like we know him fully, his whole character arc and everything. This was just a little Alistair-y for me.
It
It
was
was,
pushed way too far.
yeah, because he pretends to choke her, but then like full on starts to choke her to get that like noises. And it was a little too, it just felt it was a little out of Julian to go that far.
Not
Maybe in
only
the
does he
future it's
choke,
something different, and I'm not even trying to be funny. Like maybe I can give him that as a kink somewhere else, but I don't think that that's Julian every
not
day.
not only does he choke her, he laughs about it.
Yeah.
He
And even
laughs about
Rebecca's
it.
kind of jarred by it. It was just they didn't need to go there. Again,
He
they
says,
were
"Oh,
taking a
I got
lot
a
of
little
liberty.
carried away," and laughs about it. He's
Yeah.
smiling as he's choking her. He's getting sexual, and you can tell he's getting like sexually aroused by it.
Yes. Yeah.
It was,
It was hard.
it was uncomfortable for me, and
Yeah.
like I think they thought it was funny. I didn't find it funny at
And I
all.
feel like he tried to play it off like that,
Yeah,
or ish, but it was not. It didn't read well because
I
even Rebecca's jarred by it. Rebecca's like, Julian, like stop. Like it's Rebecca hangs up the phone. And basically, they're good. They did what they were supposed to do. But Rebecca's like, "Hey, whoa, you're taking it too far." And it was weird. It was weird.
it was very weird.
But it
So
does send Sheridan off to go back to that weird little house again.
yeah, she comes over. Julian and the imposter have smashed all of the like valuables in this home. They've just torn this place apart.
Yeah.
And Julian and Rebecca then hide in the closet.
Mhm.
Sheridan gets to the house, comes in, sees Dee Dee like cowering in the corner. She's crying. And then she explains to Sheridan, she says, you know, he thinks that he feels like because what was it?
Um, because I called over there,
Yeah,
I screwed it up, and now I ruined his plan to destroy you and your family.
yeah.
Um, and he's worked so hard over the few years to infiltrate the Cranes, and now I've ruined it. So he's been abusive towards me since the phone call.
Yeah, and so she tells Sheridan, you really need to get out of here. He's gonna come back. He's gonna hurt you. Blah blah
And he's
blah.
gonna do what you did to me, which I was gonna say. I was like, Sharon has some balls because let me tell you, this is the most I've ever seen her being like, he's not gonna hit. Like she wasn't scared. She was like, let's go.
If I'm
She
Sheridan Crane, I wouldn't be scared either. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm 100% on this one. If I'm Sheridan Crane, the minute I walk into this house, I see what's going on. I hear what this lady is saying. I'm calling the police.
yeah. Again, to quote the great Tamisha Iman, she was like, he'll hit a lot of things, but he won't hit me. I mean,
I,
she was ready.
and I don't care that he is a cop. I'm a Crane.
Yeah, she was not. But it made me think of like Sheridan used to be that fiery, that feisty. I'm trying to find the right words, but I mean, her and Luis didn't get along at the very beginning, and so like she never would have backed down from him in the first place. So it
Yeah,
was cool to see her be like, no, bring it. Now, what happens is she ends up kind of he's
hiding.
gonna come in. She hides so that she can see it for herself.
Well, Dee Dee makes her hide.
Yeah,
Dee
yeah,
Dee's
yeah.
like, go hide over there, hide over there. He's
Thank you,
coming,
thank
he's
you. Yes.
coming. And that she's like, I don't want him to hit me again. Like, hide.
Yeah,
And she's worried. So Sheridan watches from like the shadows, from like behind a little partition. And this Luis guy comes out drinking straight from the bottle, some kind of,
yeah.
I don't know, alcohol. And he starts yelling at this woman, berating her, telling her how stupid she is. You know what it reminded me of? Doctor, doctor. It
Oh,
reminded me of
little
the
son.
dentist. It reminded me of the dentist from Little Shop of Horrors. And
Yes, but
honestly, he was calling her a stupid slut, and
yes, yeah.
it reminded me so much of that. You'll be a dentist. You have a passion for causing things pain, pain.
Huh.
So anyway, that's enough musical theater. We've done enough.
We did a lot.
We did a lot. Okay, so if I can relate something to a song or a musical,
Heck yeah, you
I'm
got
gonna do
to.
it. But it reminded me so much of the dentist. He's
Mhm.
calling her a stupid slut. He's saying how she ruined everything. You ruined everything, you stupid bitch. Do you know that? Have you
No,
seen have you watched Crazy Ex-Girlfriend?
oh, okay. Yes, I have. It's just been a long time, and
I
not all the episodes. I've seen some.
I loved it. The last season was a mess, but
Yeah,
I really loved it. But that was one of the songs that you anyway. It's perfect. It fits perfectly. You ruined everything, you stupid bitch. Is basically what he says to her.
yeah,
And they're arguing, 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 and finally he slaps the shit out of Dee Dee. And that's when Sheridan comes out, says, "Enough is enough. You're disgusting. I finally see
yes.
who you are. It's like you're a different person." And he's like, "Oh well, I guess you can't deny this. You seeing it with your own eyes. Can't talk my way out of this one. I could have sweet talked you out of everything. I've been sweet talking you for 2 years now. Blah blah blah." And he
Oh, and
calls
he
her.
digs deep, though, because he's like, "Oh, and making love to you was a joke." Like, "Oh, Louise, like you sucked as a lover." Like he goes low, low, very low.
He um sorry. Okay, he insults her in every possible way. It's
Yeah,
disgusting. He calls her gullible, says that he never loved her. He was only using her and she fell for it. He calls her a sucker. He says, but at least I don't have to pretend to be in love with you anymore. Again, then he talks about how like making love to her was a chore,
yeah.
and how he again insults her in every possible way. He calls her he says you're a stupid gullible fool. And Sheridan says, you know what, I never want to see your filthy disgusting face ever again. She storms over to the door, opens the door, and y'all, I didn't think we were gonna get it. I
I
didn't think
didn't
we were
either.
gonna get
I
it.
did not
Passions
either.
got me this week. I didn't think we were gonna fucking get it, but they gave it to me, and I was so fucking happy.
I agree.
She opens the door, and Luis Lopez Fitzgerald is standing on the other side.
What I did, so I felt like I remembered this a little bit, but I didn't know it as concretely as I could, and so I was like, what happens with this story after this? Because now we're at episode 500. This is the end. This is how this week ends, and I'm sitting there going, Sheridan's leaving. I was like, what's gonna happen? I was like, how do they find that out? And she opens the door, and I just wrote down, real Luis is at the door.
Yes, he's
And
there.
it ends
Well, he walks in
with
and he
that
sees
music.
that other guy. He walks
Yeah.
in and Sheridan looks so shocked. I
The
rewound a
shock.
couple of times just because I wanted to see. I loved
Yeah.
just like seeing the angles, and yeah, that's the end. They don't say anything. We don't see anything. But I watched the next episode, and we're not going to talk about it. But
Okay.
I was so excited that
Yeah.
actually I didn't watch the next episode. I fast forwarded to find the Luis and Sheridan stuff.
Yeah, gotcha.
And it's great. I'm going to
Well,
just tell you right now,
like
it's
I
great.
said, when we got to, I'm all about music. I'm all about sound cues. When they opened the door, we got the shock stinger where it's like, da, 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 da,
Yeah.
like we got like look, I got goosebumps because I was like, oh yes, there we go. And they're looking at each other. You get to see the two Luises not in the same frame, but you get this idea that they're all like, what is going on here? And how delicious of an ending for the 500th episode of the series.
Yeah, and I didn't think they were gonna do it. I was like, they're gonna do it next week.
I was trying to remember, like, because they make such a big deal about the mask. I thought they would find the mask. I thought that's what happened, but I may be confusing something with something else. And so I thought, oh, okay, all week it's been about don't, burn the mask, burn the mask. Oh, wait, you need the mask, you need the mask. So I wasn't sure if the mask was going to be evidence. No, they had Luis confront faux Luis. So that was fun, crazy.
I loved it. And like, to be clear, I know I said like the pacing of these episodes was great this week, which they were, but this culmination of this story is like 200, 300 episodes long. Old.
Yeah.
Like, it's old. We've been doing this. We actually, if you really think about it, we've actually been dealing with this imposter stuff for an extremely long time.
Yeah.
And they did a good job of like going away from it and then bringing it back up again and then finishing it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and not dragging it out. So I'm so glad they didn't. Oh, I'm so glad they didn't drag it out.
Yeah.
So with that, that's the end of the week. Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So Eric, where can everybody find you?
I am at Mr. Eric Vera on pretty much everything. Active on Twitter, mostly Twitter. But you can try the other formats, and like I said, it's all oh my god, get on the Discord. I want to have more conversations on the Discord. I'm gonna start adding everyone and just talking about passions.
Because I am so bad about the Discord. I honestly, I can't keep up with social media. It's hard. I can't keep up with it.
Hard.
I can't keep up with it, but
no worries. But yes, I think I might just start adding everyone. So me and you were talking about guest hosting, and I told you I was excited, and I had sent you a Tabitha using her lightning bolts gif.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saving it. I was like, I had to make that one because I was like, what? I gotta find it. So I had to find the clip. I knew what episode it was, and I made it. So I used that one. It's not the greatest. It's grainy. And
I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, she's got her lightning bolts coming out of her fingers. So
add it to the Discord so everybody can use it.
There we go. Yes, I will.
Listen, Eric, you can be our Discord moderator. You do you go out there and go crazy.
I mean, you set up such a great room. I mean, like there's I think there's like a Men of Harmony. I don't know what, like the ladies of, like you have options of discussion posts, and I'm gonna start putting random thoughts in there, see who starts to bite.
I made some different ones, but actually I cannot take credit for that. Ashley Epley did that. And shout out to Ashley. Thank you, Ashley, for doing that. And awesome. Ashley, we're going to start using them, I swear.
Yes,
let's get out here. Y'all come on to the Discord and let's have some discussions. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's the end. You can catch me on all the other social medias that I'm going to get I'm gonna be better about it. I am.
Yeah.
I'm not, but I'm gonna say I am. I'm gonna say I'm gonna be better about social media. And try. So you
Yeah.
can catch me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. Just search Passions Podcast and it will pop up, or because the ad is different everywhere. If this is like episode 200 of this show, if you don't know where to find me on social media, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you. Y'all know what it is. And with that, you are my passion for life.